This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast featuring Colteastwood, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the XNC Podcast live. Well, it took a minute, but we got everybody in here. Welcome to the XNC Podcast. I'm the host. I'm going to try and be the host, but I've got a room full of hosts. The amazing RDX guys, my good friends. These guys could run a show all by themselves. They'll probably just take over this show, but welcome them, welcome you. This is the show we're running on live on Xbox for the newscast show on the Colteastwood show. We're also on demand on Spotify, Google, Pocket Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. If you want to check out the show after the fact with the audio, earbuds, mowing the lawn. But here we are. Welcome to the show. I'm going to go one by one. We've got one more coming in a little bit, but pretty much the full RDX experience. The whole thing that made me able to be here, I suppose. But xCloud, Tim Dog, how are you? Say hi to the chat.
Hello, chat. Happy to be here. It's always good to be doing a podcast with you, Colts. We had a good show, I believe, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and just ready to go. We've got a lot
and everyone wants to know what in the heck's going on with your profile picture. What is it?
Well, that is Xbox Lizard, and that is basically the lore of Xbox. When guys,
it's like, a ball sack.
No, it's not a ball sack. It's when Fonz was a Sega
sack with glasses.
Sega fan. No, it's a joke, inside joke with Jez and a lot of people in the community about 5 years ago. But he was shunned from the community because his name was Xbox Lizard, and Phil said that he resembled Xbox Lizard Squad, so we had to kill him off.
And in true Tim fashion, the picture's not even cropped in the center. It's like off to the side. It's barely in there. He's hiding from the FBI. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, welcome to the show, Tim. I'm glad you're back again. And, of course, back again all the time. Dealer Gaming, how you been?
New podcast. Who it is? I'm doing all right. I'm playing Mass Effect 3 for now. It's a lot of fun. If you're joining us, guys, hit the like button. Tell a buddy or two that Colteastwood's got a ball sack on the show. And also, let us know your thoughts as we go through the topics today. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts on what you don't even know we're going to talk about yet, but we will get into that. I've got another guy who's like the super OG, D-Batch, who's I've been on this podcast stuff with RDX for 4 or 5 years. How long's it been, D? Say hi.
Yeah, it's been a while, man, and a little bit from the olden days too, man. It's good to be on your show. Can't lie, I miss you, man. The whole crew is back together. I'm trying to upload it. I think I uploaded
there. It is. I see
avatar
it.
now. There we go. So you guys can see. Yes, it's the real D-Batch, not an imposter one.
D-Snitch.
Yeah, but it's a good break. A Monday night, and you're clearly very important because I'm skipping Monday Night Raw for this show. So just so you know,
you're totally allowed to watch it while you're doing the show. But yeah, thanks for being here. And of course, the man, they tried to kill him. They've tried to take him down. Everything under the sun's tried to knock this guy down, but he won't stop. Fonz, welcome back to the show. This is like your third time, fourth time?
No,
third?
Second.
Second
Ninth time.
We got it.
Yeah, second time. Anyways, it's my voice is a little messed up. I'm still getting over COVID, but I just wanted to shout out some guy in the chat, D'Angelo. Not leaving, bud. I'll be here for the whole show. He wanted me to leave, I guess, or something. But you know what? It's all good.
Why are you giving him a shout out?
I'm giving him a shout out because I think he wants attention. I'm going to give it to him.
Should we send D'Angelo an invite to come in here and we can squeeze him right between you and D-Batch?
Hey, could I possibly ask a question here, Colt? Are we allowed to say fudge?
You're allowed to say fudge, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is we try to keep it somewhat clean, but with dealers already opened it up with the ball sack with the sunglasses, so we're doing the best we can. Also, we've got Zocker who's going to be coming his way in once he gets done eating at Panda Express, and then he'll stop by, pick up McDonald's and get some Taco Bell, and then he'll be here. But we're excited to have Zocker here, so I want a chance for everybody in the chat to make fun of Zocker before he gets here because he's a fraud. But let me get some business out of the way. I want to give a shout out to the channel veterans: Ricky Falon, Zenner White, Poochie, Wolf Assassin. A lot of these people are great supporters of RDX. I've heard these names so many times and talked to them in the chat. DeBlue, Davari, O2, Gaming, Fault Lines, Hero Havoc, Ronnie Coots, Dark, CMF, Gaz, Betamax, Dante Moody, Alex Wilson, Lord Starkiller, Robert Jackson, Gamer McFly, Assassin Lupa, Nano Polymyth, Suicide King, Udani Kizada, Phil, KY Bob, William Lanza, and Matt Burns. Those are some good people for sure. Thank you for supporting the channel. Today we're going to talk about some of the crazy news that's been going on. Some of the stuff is like really slanted towards PlayStation. PlayStation's been doing a lot of they've been like saying, we build organically, but they've been buying stuff like crazy. We're going to talk about that. Also some of the future of Xbox and the IPs they have coming up and what in the heck is going on with 2022. Dealer, what is going on with this 2022 as an Xbox fan?
Well, let's talk about what's not going on, which is Microsoft paying for chips. I'm going to come back to that because I've actually talked to a few people that work at Xbox, and they're like, that's silly, that's stupid.
Yes,
but there's a lot of reasons why that doesn't make any sense and that it's unsubstantiated. But what's happening in 2022 for Xbox fans is a lot of what is hopefully the very last bit of waiting that any of us are willing to do ever again this year. Because, we don't have a game for like, I don't know, how many more months? 6 more months, right? And hopefully with the release of Starfield, that's the end of this whole thing, please, right?
Yeah.
I mean, chat, right? Hopefully Starfield the last time we're waiting, right?
Yeah, this is, we've talked about this quite a bit, but that whole Stalker thing getting delayed because of what's going on across the world. It's been such a terrible mess. And then it was funny, you couldn't talk about any other games when Elden Rings was in the mix. We're going to get to that in a bit. I'm glad you talked about the chip things. We're also going to get to that. I want to start off. I'm going to start off with Fonz on this one. Starfield. We've seen zero gameplay of it. People are super hyped, even though they've seen nothing of it. You can only speculate what's going to be. And then they dropped another 2 videos over the last couple weeks. Fonz, can you get people up to speed on what's going on in Starfield and what's Metacritic and when you buy it?
Well, the Metacritic hasn't come out yet, but when it does drop, it'll be in the 90s, I'm sure.
That's a bold claim, Fonz.
I don't care. I'm going to be bold about this.
It's going to be
Starfield is going to be incredible. Starfield is going to be the next big thing from Bethesda. Who doesn't love Bethesda? I mean, honestly, Bethesda has been the go-to for many people that love. Yeah, really. That love RPGs, man. Western RPGs. They've been the studio that's always brung it with their single-player RPGs. All of them. Each of the series, at least one of each series, has gotten a Game of the Year nomination. All right, so they've always produced good Western RPGs. This one is going to be incredible. The latest video that they put out, though, honestly, the robot Vasco, it was really irrelevant. It was something that was just, I think it just was kind of a tease to people again,
Stop ruining my hype, Fonz.
No. Get hype for the game. Seriously, get hype for it. It's going to be incredible. But
get hype for Vasco.
But I like the fact that they did mention that this is just one of other companions that you'll have along the way. He's not the only one. But it's just a little
is he going to be
teaser.
like Cogsworth in Fallout 4 where no one used him as a companion?
Oh, man. No, I think they'll actually use Vasco, and I think that you'll probably start off with him, and it'll be one of those situations where that'll be your go-to guy for a while until you meet others. The game's going to be awesome, man. Like, I can't see anybody that likes a Bethesda, single-player RPG looking at this game or listening to what we're hearing about it and thinking anything negative on it, because everything we're hearing right now is basically Skyrim on steroids in space.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't love that?
I gotta ask D-Batch, what do you think we're going to get from combat. What's this combat going to be like in Starfield? It's something they've refused to talk about. They haven't shown anything. We haven't even seen a picture of somebody holding a gun other than setting it down by a sandwich.
If I had to guess, I would say it'd be somewhere on the lines of Mass Effect. I don't think it can be like the same type of Fallout style because that's kind of jank. I think they're going to improve upon it. And if I had to guess, I would say like Mass Effect style type of combat.
And do you think there'll be a first and third person camera, or is that third person camera going to be a throwaway like it mostly was in Fallout 4?
It's hard.
I use that camera, man.
It's hard to say, man. I think you should honestly give options. Do both. You know, give the option of both because personally, I don't really want to play that game in first person. I personally would want to play it in third person. So if people want to play that in first person, then give that the option. But I want it to be third person.
I've always switched back and forth when I play Fallout. I've always went back and forth. Even Elder Scrolls, I did the same thing. I'd bounce back and forth depending on what I was doing. Yeah.
If you're a magic guy, like the third person camera is pretty cool, but the like wielding an axe was kind of weird on that. Tim, you've been hyping up Starfield like crazy. Do you have anything to say about this like drip feed of we're gonna sit around a nice little clean table with a coffee mug and say a lot about nothing?
Well, I mean, if you remember when the Bethesda deal got, when they had that round table, they said, yes, we're going to show it off. And they talked about the summer or the summer of this year. Obviously, it was slated for E3, and obviously it's going to be the headliner at whatever show that they're going to have. And I believe that just like many of their other games and the way they've handled it, it's going to be very good. And I think that you're dealing with a project with Todd Howard has put a lot into it, and his pedigree really. You look at Skyrim, and you look at the games that he's done, and he's hyping this game up, and I've heard rumors it's going to be the real deal, and I'm confident it's for a good reason. It's because basically.
Uh-oh.
The Autobots got him.
Transform and roll out.
And
you're glitching, Tim Dog.
The lizard man got you, Tim.
They were absolutely wowed by it.
He can't even hear
it's
us.
to deliver. And, well,
Tim, can you hear us?
Tim. Hey, Tim.
Wow.
Better now?
Yeah,
Better
I feel
now?
like that scene in
All
Forrest
right.
Gump when he's giving that speech at the Washington Monument.
All right. Well,
It's smoothed out now, Tim, but go
Okay.
ahead and give us your synopsis.
I have 100% confidence, and I don't think
There you
people complain about the gameplay. This is the way they've always done their thing. They've always shown it like 6 months before. Remember Fallout? There's no reason to worry, in my opinion. And I think that we're gonna, whenever they announce it, it's gonna be the headliner for sure.
Okay, I got one more question. I got to get a couple supers here that kind of get the show kicking off, but I got a Steeler. What are the chances that this 11/11/22 date gets pushed, and what do you think the Metacritic score is going to be? I heard you kind of piping it with a guess.
I think the Metascore will be around in 87, 88. Why? I don't know. I just have gut feelings about things, and usually I'm pretty accurate with the Metascores for some reason.
Yeah,
it's because Xbox is going to ruin them.
No, I mean 80, 85, 87, 88. That's not a bad score at all. So if they get that,
PlayStation and Xbox games pretty closely over the past couple of years.
If they get that, then I'll be, that's. I mean, hey, it is what it is. Even if it's an 80, it's still a good game, right? So and it's all up to the individual at the end of the day. But obviously, as fans, we all want the best score possible. We want the W, right? We want to be able to have a little bit more morale and confidence, like anybody would. So I'm guessing anywhere from 85 to probably 88. Could be wrong, but we'll see. And as far as the date, I mean, hey, if they're not delaying it by now, I mean, hey, we've seen them announce Crackdown 3's date on the Xbox One X's launch day, and literally a month or two later delay it, right? Like, so who knows? But I feel like they've had a ton of time to work on this. They've been working on it since before Fallout 4. I think that was when it was in pre-production, or at least they were coming up with these ideas, and that was a long time ago. So I think it's about time we get something,
Yeah, it seems like there are people that are like really hoping it gets delayed, but I'm with Dealer. It's Todd Howard sounds like they've just given themselves that extra few months. But we got a shout out from JC Jad 93, who does a super chat before the show started because he's heading to bed. I guess he says, "Hey, Colton RDX crew, have a great stream. Can't wait to listen tomorrow. Happy gaming." Flame, thank you so much for the 5. Says, "I finally figured out why crossover is happening. X&C is buying RDX for $69,420 to booster all of X&C pass." No. Dealer bought
It's
me
the
for
opposite.
And then all we had to do is pay him in cup of noodles. That was it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love cup noodles. Drawn TJ with a 20 says, "Oh, hell yeah, best panel ever. Going to listen while working out. Have a great show." Hey,
Get
Drawn
some
TJ,
gains.
Leave your camera on while you're working out. We're going to see if we'll critique your form and whatnot.
That's a big creepy.
D-Batch, we hear those mining fans in the background.
Yeah.
Oh no.
The Ethereum is good, man.
What do you mean? Oh no! It sounds like you're in a damn refrigerator. Like,
Let me read. You know what? Right now,
I just got an achievement.
Who just rolled? I gotta give a shout out. Who just rolling in? Zocker 87. We've been talking all day today. Welcome to the show. Yep. How's work? How you been?
Exhausted from work, but no, I'm glad to be here. I tried getting my camera to work, but all that comes up is that stupid circle thing, and I can't even change that now. I'm saving everybody's eyes. A stupid circle.
That thing.
That stupid circle. But no, it's fine. I'm glad to be here. Sorry I'm late. Well, I couldn't get off work till about now, and I just jumped on, grabbed like a pear, and that's what I'm eating for dinner. So I'm happy.
A pear?
I literally have a pear. That's it.
You eat the weirdest things, man.
Pears are weird. Fucking good, man.
Yeah. So shout out to Zocker for joining the show. Let's see. I got a couple more here. Donataku says Fallout 4 combat was much improved compared to 3 in New Vegas, so I'm hoping Starfield is more of a step up. Well, I got to ask you about that, Dealer, because you and I have this conversation a lot about. I always say the Fallout 4 shooting's pretty good. Like, I don't mind it because they took a bunch of help. Holy fan noise!
Oh my god!
D-Batch.
He said, "Oh my god!"
His dreads are smacking him in the face and stuff. There's so much wind in here. Yeah, I mean the Fallout 4 combat. I mean, if I'm picking up what you're putting down here, it was definitely better than 3. You didn't need VATS to not want to kill yourself by the end of the game with the combat. But I mean, it had some work to do. But this is a game that was. How old is this game now? 8 years old. I mean, this is a game that's 50 years old now, and I think that they've come a long way, and they can get help from id and all these other guys to help them out with their third-person combat. So I'm with whoever the hell said that earlier, D-Batch. I'm with D-Batch. I think that they should have first and third-person combat. Offer both of those. It's not too hard, and why not, man? I mean, give people a choice.
In photo mode? Are they going to have photo mode?
Well, I mean, hopefully not.
Hey, can we all...
Do we have fan mode? Can we get
the chat to all gather together by D-Batch and Noise Gate? That would be great.
Yes, we do.
And now it's okay, D-Batch.
It's good.
We've done this enough, D-Batch. I just feel like there's got to be some short-term memory loss or something going on.
No, it's kind of like the position of the mic, whatever. I just turned one of them off. It's okay. My bad.
Make sure you got it unidirectional, okay? Not omnidirectional.
Yeah.
And shout out to Dealer for providing technical support on the show live while we do everything. Yeah. So, hey, and Duvy says, shout out to the RDX panel. Thank you so much, Duvy. Donnie Kazada puts down Song of Iron code in the chat. So let me know if you get that picked. I still haven't played that. Gaz with a 12-pound super chat. My man, Gaz, I don't hear from this guy all day, and he drops in a super. What are you doing, Gaz? You don't send me supers.
He's partying. It's his birthday.
Oh, yeah. It's happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Gaz.
OG's back together. Just need Tim Dog screaming, and we're good. Tim Dog dropped out. He'll come back. But he's like, yeah! So let's see. I got one more. Drawn TJ says, D, you're in a Sony salt mine.
Haha, the fans. And Risk It for the Biscuit, who's been a channel member for 8 months, says RDNXC. Dealer's like, ooh, gross. In the house today to well, the Xbox One S version
Keep
of
going,
RDX.
Keep going.
Oh my god.
He says, good day to Colt, Dealer Fonz, and Dean Zocker. I'm strapped after my trip, so I'm using a cheapy chat. This is going to be fire. Okay, you spent all this money. So
just post Save a Lot coupons in the chat. That'll help Colt fund the show and
for
all
free
the
Blimpy sub.
Yeah, the free Blimpy subs.
Speaking of spending, Zocker, we got to talk about this spending spree, this organic spending spree. Get the chat up to date. What's going on with Sony and their latest buying option and what in the heck they're doing? Because a lot of people saw that and like, what does this mean?
Are you talking about the $1 billion or like
billion?
Like literally,
yeah,
they put like $1 billion into Epic Game Studios or Epic the store. Then they put like another 200 million like a few months ago, and then
Sony shocks the world.
Like this organic, like they're almost at like 2 billion invested in Epic Games, which is kind of insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money to put into something that you're not going to be a part of. Wink, wink, aka PC gaming. So
that's
we're
what I
gonna
want to hear.
Like, I think they're going to be part of. Like, I think that's where they're going to use it. I mean, Steam is where you should be. But I think they're going to go into Epic Games, use their store to kind of maybe get stuff out there and maybe even get a partnership. I mean, we've seen the partnership with Discord, right? Like Sony's going to be integrating a lot of their chat with Discord, and they're already doing that where you can connect your account, your PlayStation Now account or PlayStation Plus, whatever the hell it's called, your PlayStation Plus account into Discord and use it. So I don't know. They're investing a lot of money into the PC space without, well, we're not going to put it out there and because it's going to devalue our games. My ass it is. You're gonna put that shit on there just like everyone else and join the party.
Yeah. Well, I thought this whole thing with Epic was about them investing in technology and Unreal stuff for movies for Sony Pictures. D-Batch, you know anything about this? You think that Zocker's onto something with the day and date PC games on Epic Game Store?
I think it's a lot of stuff. They've been slowly, putting their foot into the pot there, and I think it's a lot of things. I think it's to get, some PC traction. I think it's also to invest in the technologies that they have. So, they can have some type of advantage or, privy to certain tools before everybody else, help develop stuff. And also, I think it's for the metaverse. I was reading some stuff earlier today that, some of this pushes for the metaverse, and they want to invest that money. Like a lot of people are kind of sleeping on the metaverse, myself included, because, we're the type of people that if we don't see it in the moment, it's like, it doesn't exist. But the metaverse is coming, and a lot of these companies are starting to prepare for it. So I think it's a multi-tiered approach, but I think PC is definitely at the helm of it, and the technologies that Epic has.
Yeah, it certainly seems like they'd actually have a foundation to work from. Right now, they'd have to just push over to Steam. They feel like they can't do that because Xbox does it, and for some reason they can't. I got to ask Fonz, what's your take on this day and date PC thing? What are you expecting them to do? Are they ready to make a move, or why are they waiting?
I don't think they're going to be doing that right away. Eventually they will. I just don't, they're going to take their time. They're slowly watching everything that Microsoft is doing. We've said it time and time again on RDX, and you've even said it here too, Colt. That they're going to be doing day and date eventually, even on their own platform. It's just going to take some time. They're going to make sure that they got all their numbers lined up and everything, the way they want it to be before they pull that trigger, but it's going to be pulled eventually.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the whole.
I think it's inevitable with services like this, man. I mean, the services really do need that day and date to really entice everybody. I mean, because they will entice some with some of that nostalgia, but let's face it, with the things going on right now, with some of their games sort of just stop not working anymore, let's say, for some people, some games that they bought. A lot of people are not really too ecstatic for all their digital services right now. So we'll see.
So I got to ask, Dealer, because this kind of ties into, people are connecting the dots with the Unreal Engine 5 thing. Sony paid for a bespoke demo of the nanites and lumens thing. Dealer, can you talk to us about the whole thing where a lot of PlayStation fans are saying this could not run on an Xbox Series X because of the I/O speed of the PS5? Like, this demo could only be running at 30 frames at this fidelity on a PS5. Have you dug into that?
Which demo are we talking about?
That old one from about a year and a half ago.
That's why I wanted to double check. I'm like, what the? We've already been through this. Like, that's stupid.
They're still talking about it.
It's dumb. The reason it was running at 30 frames had nothing to do with the SSD. It had everything to do with the resolution and the fact that Unreal Engine 5 is brand new, and it's, as every engine goes along, it gets a little bit more proficient. But I mean, obviously that could be run on an Xbox Series S. That is the target for the next generation of 16 threads into processor with an SSD, and with obviously things like FSR and stuff like that, GPU is going to be a lot easier to scale things on. But at the end of the day, that is Epic's target, as they've shown running on PC, as they've confirmed we're running on PC, as people have in their computers right now messing around with that old demo. You got to remember, they released a lot of this stuff for people to mess around with on drives far slower than a PS5's. So factually, it's not only able to run on a PS5. We know that. We've known that. That's why I had to double check. But I mean, ultimately, Unreal 5 is, it looks incredible. It's a much bigger deal than I think everybody, myself included, thought it would be. What they're trying to do, how easy it is to work on, how they're trying to speed up workflows, automate things like global illumination, get rid of all these technical. We've all seen great games that have shitty fucking, no offense, but shitty technical leads on them, where the game just runs like trash, and you're like, what is going on? Like, we seen Red Dead 2 on Xbox One that looks better than almost all these next generation games. This gets rid of a lot of that. It really does. And when you work with Unreal Engine 5,
there was two big games that
I was giving a speech, Colt. What the fuck? No, I'm just kidding. But seriously though, when you work with Unreal Engine 5, you get free unlimited tech support from Epic if you work with the engine, which is big.
Epic tech support.
That's all I wanted to finish up by saying. That's big.
Hey, I just want to add to what Dealer said there. Running it on the PC right now, it's running on the PC. I think it's 1440p, and it's bouncing like 30 to like 40 FPS. It's not even doing 60 FPS, and this is like on an RTX 3090. Okay, so I think it's an amazing showing for the Xbox Series X to see the fidelity, and it was like 30 FPS, but it was smooth. And when you see that like a 3090, and I'll be fair, it's not 100% optimized, obviously, but still, it's very powerful hardware. Is still running it barely above 30 FPS. Lets you know that the Series X and S are in a good place. I think 1080p.
Damn it, Zucker.
1200p, whatever, they'll get it to run at 30, 60 FPS on that engine. I think it's going to be amazing. And honestly, I haven't understated it. I've always thought that Unreal Engine is going to be huge. And Unreal Engine 5, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. If you just look at all the studios recently that announced that they're going to be switching over to it, it's going to be a game changer. And I can't wait till the game start dropping.
I want to get into some of the things that we're going to see improve and some of the changes we're going to see with Unreal Engine 5. But I got to give a shout out to Zocker for being on camera. If I could just borrow half of his eyebrows, I think I will be good, because I have zero and he's got a surplus over there. Zocker, you're looking great.
If Zucker winks at us, he's going to take flight. We love Zucker.
We do love Zocker. I got to ask, Zocker, you've been digging into this. I want to get back to Dealer as well, because he did a video about this Unreal Engine 5. But what are you expecting to see change with the Unreal Engine 5? Because these games lately, Zocker, they've been basically Xbox One and PS4 enhanced. It seems like we really haven't seen anything amazing that we couldn't have seen last gen.
I got to see it to believe it. Like the whole thing of it's going to make it easy for developers. That was the same shit they said about Unreal Engine 4. The whole thing is it's going to do this, streamline, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? Games still took 5 to 6 to 7 years, 8 years to make. So unless they truly actually take that technology and streamline it for developers, I don't see it happening until I see it. right? Like that's the proof is in the pudding. Let me see it first. Let me see you doing that. Let me see smaller developers get more out of it, get way more out of it. We're almost playing like a AAA game, because that's another thing they talked about. I'm getting tired of tech and developers and people from Xbox, Sony, everything. They're talking a lot. Show me what you're going to do. That's what I want to see. Give me the game. I want to see it in my hands. I want to play it, and I want it to not be freaking buggy and crappy. And I want you to use the hardware. Like the demo we got from the Matrix was awesome.
Yes,
that was amazing. And then the demos we were getting, with this past event with Xbox, it was actually pretty cool. Like all the technology, the facial, the mutants, whatever the hell they called it, all that stuff. Like you're like, wow, you generated a whole world. It took less time. This actually looks pretty cool. Then if you saw the people that took demos, one person made like a Superman demo where he's flying around the city like super fast, and it's like,
oh yeah, dude, I saw that. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine having a 300-person developer team that are professionals working on something on Unreal Engine 5 for 3 years? Like, let's get something like that going first. I don't want to have it where we're talking about it, all this tech, and they're like, look at this, look at that, and then it's never implemented in the games, or if it is, there's compromises elsewhere. Give me the give me the software with the hardware working together, and give me the games where I'm playing them. So that's all I could say about the Unreal Engine. Is it cool? Yeah, it's awesome. And I know people that are messing with the Unreal Engine 5 right now that are just having fun with it. They're not developers, and they're like, whoa, I can build things faster than before. And it's like, that's great, but it's like they're just building like a train going.
Yeah, but okay, I get what you're saying with that. But what I'll say is they actually talked about specifically being able to animate in the renderer, not being, you don't have to send things back to the tech team, right? And the artist can have a little bit more control, or vice versa. The fact that they've got a library of photogrammetry scanned assets that can basically be just, utilized, a lot of them for free. Like a lot of what they're doing is really cool. I think it will, and it's obvious that I think it will speed a lot of stuff up. It gets rid of a lot of that red tape, having to send stuff back and forth when you get, I need the hand to do this motion because, he's bimp smacking someone in the corner of 55th and 4th. And, you don't got to send it to someone else to do this stuff. They can do a lot of that right there and iterate on it. But I think it's cool, man. I think it's exciting, Zucker. Don't rob everybody's hype.
Listen, it's exciting. Like the animation of the I think it was like 2 shows ago, right? Where they showed off like the person jumping over the rock or the girl doing this and that.
Yes.
All that animation is cool, and it's there, and they can use it. That's there for developers. What I want to see is what like the coalition is going to do with those animations. Heighten them, make them better.
Zucker makes a good point.
They made a guy that's scared of some fog. That's what they've done.
What about the point? They did show some cool stuff that like a small team could like put something together and have like a high quality like setup for a game or a tech demo with those tools. Like, but Zucker's leading into a really good point. Like, what about the developers that don't need a canned animation of hopping over a rock or throwing a fireball at a giant? Like the coalition. And here's where I'm going to take it to Dealer, even though he started on that already. But give us a quick explanation of what you think the coalition plans to do with Unreal Engine 5 and what's like going to be the game changer.
I mean, they're showing you what they're kind of playing, even with the small passionate, passion project tech demos. They're showing you what they can do as of right now with a very small team on not a lot of time really with, for individual demos and learning a new engine as they literally unlock new features like metahumans, right? Or animorphs, whatever the hell they're calling it now. They're literally going back and implementing that stuff in their tech demos, and they're showing you what they can do in, X amount of time. I think it's impressive, man. And I think that with over 300 people, the coalition, when they might have over 400 now, they're going to be able to knock it out of the park with the next Gears of War. And I think that surprisingly, they are pushing this technology harder than anybody else right now. Xbox have the most developers in the industry working with Unreal Engine 5. From what we can tell, it's probably 10 studios we saw on that list. That's not a bad sign. And really, it makes you wonder why the hell Halo's using Slipspace.
I know. I do want to talk.
No, I think Slipspace has a lot of ways to come. I don't think we've seen the best of that engine at all, but yeah, I mean, Unreal's making a hell of an argument for developers.
I think
we've seen enough.
The new studios that were announced, like CD Projekt Red, they're making the next Witcher using Unreal Engine 5. The next Tomb Raider is going to be using Unreal Engine 5. Like these are incredible.
Witcher 3 is amazing in that Red engine or whatever it's called.
The tech, like you really have to look deep into the technology. It really here's my word, streamlines all the development for these developers. It really does. The ease for them to create things. They just don't need to do certain things anymore. It cuts out a lot of steps for them. And you guys have made the point that you see people that aren't professional studios, just regular folk, making some amazing stuff. So when CD Projekt Red gets their hands on it, when we're seeing the next Tomb Raider game created with this, I think we're going to see some truly amazing things, because these are already great studios. And now when they have tools that make their work a lot easier and actually allow them to create things that they were never even possible, was never even possible with the hardware, maybe with a supercomputer, it's amazing. The sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope we see something, because I really feel like we're still in cross-generation. Let me go to Fonz here in a second. Udana Kazada says, no one's a bigger fan of RDX and XNC than D's PC. And welcome to new channel members. Rob McKinley, welcome, and new channel members, as well as Scrub Nurse. Welcome to the channel. You'll get early access to my little videos I make and merch giveaways I do on the 21st of every month. So welcome to the show and the channel for that. And Draw DJ says, everyone hit the like button for this amazing show if you're having a good time on the XNC with the RDX podcast collaboration. Move the chat out of the way, just hit the like button and come right back. Join the chat. There's some amazing people like Psychonauts, Special Nick's hanging out in here, Gaz, my mods, Happy Bomb, and Lethal Papa, and Xbox Obi are chilling in here, keeping the smackdown for the crackdown. And I appreciate that and all your work you're doing so we can have a good time. Lord Staller Killer says, Gear 6 will be absolutely fire. We could talk about Gear 6. I got to ask Fonz about because D just brought up Crystal Dynamics and Tomb Raider, and I'm like, oh, cool, Tomb Raider game. But the very first thought that came to my mind, Fonz, if you're listening, is they're already planning a new Tomb Raider. But last time I checked, they were busy on something. What is going on? What's the plan and roadmap for Crystal Dynamics and this partnership with Xbox?
I don't know what their roadmap is. I don't know what their plans are.
You told me you were stalking their LinkedIn.
I hear the same thing you've heard. I mean, you may have heard more. I don't know. But
I want you to speculate a little bit, Fonz, because they're supposed to be working on Perfect Dark. They already want to start playing the next Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Thinking about Tomb Raider's partnership with Xbox. Is there anything?
I don't think that Crystal Dynamics is putting Perfect Dark ahead of their own projects. Don't get it twisted. They may have some sort of deal with Xbox, but they're still Crystal Dynamics, and they still got things to put out there, like the next Tomb Raider. And a lot of people are excited for that. And matter of fact, I'm not the biggest Tomb Raider fan, but I will say, I'm more excited for the next Tomb Raider than I am Perfect Dark, really. So, I mean, I just don't think that Crystal Dynamics is really putting Perfect Dark ahead of their own stuff,
Did they say specifically it was Crystal Dynamics or was it Square Enix?
Yeah, it was the head of Crystal Dynamics that was on the State of Unreal stream last week before you and I.
The former guy that was the director of Days Gone is now basically, I think, directing the new Tomb Raider. He talked about it and put it on LinkedIn, put it on Twitter, that he's over there at Crystal Dynamics now, which Crystal Dynamics is working on 3 things now, which they talked about. They said Perfect Dark, now this new Tomb Raider, and they're still working on Avengers, because despite what everybody what everybody says, apparently Avengers is really successful and they're not going to let it go, and they're like, there's still more
they
stuff
themselves have said it wasn't successful. Here's what they need to be focused on is the next Guardians of the Galaxy over there at Eidos Montreal. That's all I care about right now.
Yeah, they do.
Because it was great. It was a good game. It's, sold millions and millions already. And whether or not Square Enix says it's a failure is, they're lying. Come on.
It's your fault, dealer, that it didn't sell better. Before the game came out, you're like, I'm not really hyped. It looks like Avengers.
I wasn't.
And then I was like, you know what, dealer? You killed the launch, and now we're not getting a sequel. So it's dealer's fault. In the chat,
I shield for that game harder than anybody. It's great.
Tim, you're dropping.
I remember playing it, and you were just like, "Are you enjoying it?" I'm like, "Dude, it's really good." You're like, "You like everything," and then you played it. You're like,
"You do like everything, though."
You're
so
like, "Shut up,
I had to go back and cross verify. I'm like, "Hang on, Zalker likes it. I gotta go ask 6 other people, make sure it's good." So you were definitely onto something on this one. Guardians of the Galaxy
is a toddler.
Dealer has to be really careful when he hears that Zocker or I am liking a game. He always has to give it like a 3-day waiting period.
To be honest, though, Cole, like, every time we do talk on the show on RDX and we're like, yeah, this game's coming out, Zucker's like, yeah, I can't wait. Every game. It doesn't matter. Barbie in fun, in Funko Land or whatever. And he's like, I can't wait. We're just like, really?
Don't make me murder you, Fonz.
And here's the thing.
I don't like this game.
Yeah, they're kind of like polar opposites.
I'm the opposite, right? I'm the opposite.
Yeah,
I'm the guy who's like,
everything.
I'm not looking forward to that game. And Zucker's like, I love it.
And Zucker's like, Wasteland 3 looks amazing. 5 years later, never played it.
I haven't played it.
That's why I got a cross-reference. I'm surrounded by, yin and yang here. So
Goldilocks and the Three Bears approach when I look at games. I got Zucker, who's the big bear. This porridge is too hot. And then Fonz is the porridge too cold.
Yeah,
Dealers usually this porridge is just right because usually our stuff lines up.
It's fine because you know what? At the end of the day,
Zonka is a toddler.
That's it.
Is that the real recording? Because it sounds like D doing
that's
the
100% the real guy.
That's the only way that crackhead's going to end up on any of these shows is that recording right there.
Gosh, I was just about to ask Tim a question, and he's like, "I'm out." So, I was going to ask
unfortunately,
Tim
I think Tim's connection is bad because it happens on RDX too. He goes out and in, out. And
He's on
I'm over
McDonald's
here
Wi-Fi.
He's literally in the drive-thru ordering a Big Mac right
He's like,
now.
I'll take an order, but Bethesda.
He's like, "This deal's on lock." Yeah, shout out to
With a side of Blizzard. He's like, that's fucking great. Should have bought an Xbox.
Oh yeah, we love Tim Dog. David Kirkhoff, thank you so much for the €2. Says, didn't Epic Tech Support was the Epic Tech Support by Coalition? Yeah, they worked with them. They worked together. They've worked together for a long time. So, like Dealer said, whatever the Coalition does with Unreal 5 will be amazing. And they did kind of port Gears 5 into Unreal Engine 5, but was that the version we played enhanced, or they just tested it out internally?
The only thing ported for Unreal Engine 5 is the current Fortnite. That's the only thing that's running on Unreal Engine 5 right now. Which
but they said they ran. I thought they ran Gears 5 through Unreal, but that was just something they did internally to see what it would do.
Just internally, nothing. The only thing in public that you can play is Fortnite right now. From what they said, like just in that show, and then from what I've seen, Unreal Engine 5 on Fortnite's the only thing with the no build mode, which is 10 times better than anything.
Yeah, they look any different.
I mean, I haven't played Fortnite before.
I mean, you're not gonna. I always think it's funny, like when people are like, "I can't wait to see a game like this get ported on Unreal 5." Like, I don't know if you'd ever see the difference, but
I don't think there's much difference in it at all because if it's changed, has it already changed to Unreal 5?
Yeah, on Fortnite.
Oh, because my son plays it from time to time, and the only thing he's mentioned is the difference is, so you got that mode where you don't have to build houses or.
Well, the transition to UE5 wasn't really for the cosmetics. I think it's for future updates and stuff. So it's not something that's going to push anything in that regard anyway.
The only thing that's good about it, and why they bring it up is because no one talked about Fortnite shutting down or breaking. Yeah. So it's like they're like, yo. We put this on UE5. We're doing the test first. It's our game, obviously, and nothing happened. There you go.
It has the potential for you just to wake up one morning and play the game and it looks completely different. That's how powerful Unreal Engine 5 is, man. They can.
Are you being sarcastic?
They're not going to do that with Fortnite, man. It's style for a reason.
It's got to run on a toaster. So.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I would like to see like a fucking high def version of Fortnite. I think that'd be fucking awesome, man. Like for real, like better, like because it's really cartoony, right? Like more like a Call of Duty kind of, like more realistic. Like why not?
I mean, I like the way it looks, but I mean that game. That game runs at 60 on an Xbox One S, so it's just like optimization to the T. But
World of Warcraft looks the same after 20 years. They're not going to change it. It's the art style for what it is, and people. I don't know if you guys saw one guy ported the entire World of Warcraft like Orc City in Unreal Engine 5, and it looked freaking awesome to the point where everybody that like still plays the game is like, yo, can we upgrade like the graphics in this game and get it like this? Because it looked cool. And it was just one guy that did it. Just one dude. Took him I think 2 weeks to do it or something. It looked awesome.
And meanwhile, they're charging, $10-20 to up-res games that already exist. You got to love it. Risk it for the biscuit. Thank you so much for the $8. Australian says, if CD announced Tomb Raider, they may be further ahead on Project Dark than we thought. When's the next Xbox showcase? What do we see there? Are we going to see Perfect Dark, Fonz, at the Xbox June show.
That's a hell no.
Really?
We can't say hell here. Yeah. No,
That's
it's
a jeepers
definitely
no.
It's definitely a no. Look, we heard about the stuff going on behind the scenes over there with Daryl and company. The initiative they're in no position right now to show any kind of gameplay. I don't think we're going to see it until there's
Drew Murray's
gameplay
kid
ready.
played Game Fonts.
No, look, you can.
She said it was great fun.
I'm sure that there was a playable, game back when it was probably still
It helped her go
still
night-night
sticks and
fonts.
it's like stick figures or something. Who knows?
Yeah. You're right.
At the end of the day, I think Microsoft is really going to cover their bases, and they're not going to show anything that isn't ready to be shown.
You know what? I say a hell yeah, because I'm the opposite of Fonz, so it's going to be there.
There you go.
No, I'm just joking.
Contrarian.
I honestly, I don't think it's going to be there. I mean, they showed that trailer, like a year and a half ago at the Game Awards show. So, like, if anything, they might show another teaser.
No,
but I don't think it is. If anything, it's going to be shown at the Game Awards at the end of this year.
Here's the thing. Why do they need to show anything this year on Perfect Dark? They've got so many other games to show. They've got Avowed they've got to show. I'm sure that's going to be shown this year.
Maybe
other games.
No.
I think Avowed will be shown.
They don't need to show anything because there's a drought for.
He
about
didn't say
8
they
months.
didn't need to show anything.
No, I said they don't need to show Perfect Dark.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got other things they can show.
Yeah, I would rather see Avowed. I want to see.
Yeah,
that.
me too. I want to see Avowed. Me and you are on that same level where we want more fantasy games. We want more fantasy games right now. Yep. Me and Soccer.
Yeah, y'all's twins.
Yep. Hey, we're twins in MLB too. We've been playing the crap out of that.
Oh my god, dude! I need to get off of that damn game. 20 hours.
I've been playing it too.
I feel like dealer
Colt,
playing NBA.
you wanna go ahead and just kick these two out and
no, Colt's been playing too.
Why you gotta throw me under the bus? No, I really like MLB. I made my character, and I'm not a good looking dude, so me translated into video game is even worse. So it looks like a totally derpy guy playing baseball, like up to the plate, Derp McDerper. But I gotta ask you guys, this is like a perfect segue into. Let me grab Scrub Nurse. It says they won't make Fortnite more realistic because it's a game for with guns for kids. I mean, everybody loves Fortnite. I gotta ask you guys about. Shoot, I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Welcome to hosting, right, dealer?
Welcome to hosting, where it's like the fizz
Hosting
just goes out of a
guys.
2-liter. It's gone. I was going to ask you guys about the game engines because we were talking earlier about how dealers like talking about Slipspace. It's just like, man, why are they using Slipspace? But Xbox has 6 studios they're using Unreal Engine 5. And everyone's fighting about which engine is better. Decima is the ultimate engine in Naughty Dog, and then you've got Unreal Engine. Zucker, what is the killer app from Xbox Game Studios for engines?
Either id Tech and the form of id Tech if Activision goes through the Call of Duty engine. Like
Call of Duty engine.
Like it's
id Tech.
It's id Tech, but it's iterated in.
What do they call that?
It's the trash dollar store version of id Tech. No one cares about that one.
Dude, that Call of Duty engine.
They added on to it. Yeah.
They add all whatever they want on it.
It's still
the
id
id
Tech
Tech
at the
you
end of the
want
day.
is the one that's being used in Doom. You want id Tech 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I said id Tech.
I still think Call of Duty games look good at the time. Like when they release, they always look really good. I don't know. People argue with me when I say that, but I always feel like the Call of Duty games always look really good.
Modern Warfare 2019 is the best looking Call of Duty ever right now. To me, it looked good, but it had to be the next iteration of id Tech and what they're doing with their textures and stuff like that. They're doing some really cool stuff. Or, I want to see what Slipspace can really do. I'm not convinced that was even close to what it could really do. And there's a lot of reasons for that, be it the 500 billion contractors that were plopping grass down and didn't give a shit if it was plopped down properly, or the change in leadership, or the presumed changing of engines. I mean, there's so much stuff that went down. I hope there's a documentary about Halo Infinite one day. And while kind of turned out as a quality product, aside from the post-launch stuff and the co-op, which, still isn't there and going to be there until like a year later, I'd just like to see what that engine can really do, because whatever that was that they showed us, and they showed us the the crap to unveil Halo Infinite, right? Remember, that looked a lot different than what we got, and I just want to know what the hell happened.
Well, that was in engine, like that 2019 stuff that we thought looked really
that was
great.
different. It even had ray tracing. I mean, it was just different. Like it was completely like the submarine, the thing under the water, the animals. What the fuck what happened?
We heard that they spent so much money on the game, and part of me wants to believe that had to do with that engine, that Slipspace. I'm sure they spent a lot of money developing that.
I think they're gonna move away from it, man.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I mean,
dude,
because
I'm
you
telling
got
you,
that. What about
the best looking Call of Duty was Modern Warfare? That's made by Infinity Ward, who it was on the engine, which is an offshoot of id Tech, which is called Infinity Ward 8.0. And that game, Warzone and all those run. No, I'm saying they run beautifully for first person shooters.
Of course, but so does Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite runs great.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good too.
It feels good.
It feels
but
great.
I don't know, man. I think that if you look
the thing
at
is, it's like I think that honestly, I think they spent a lot of time developing that engine, and I think that you just got to let them work with it. I'm all for them working with that engine and trying to push that as far as they can. There is so many engines out there that there's development companies that are using engines that aren't Unreal. So I mean, you've got Rockstar with their Rage engine, and that looks incredible.
And Halo's not leaving Slipspace, just to be clear, and that's why I say I think that we haven't seen close to the best of what's possible with Slipspace, and that's why I've always said. Since we first heard about the plan behind Halo, this game will look drastically better 2 years from now than it does today. And we know that it still doesn't have ray tracing. That's one example of something that will be different in the future, hopefully. Not that that's an excuse. I've railed on that enough. But that's an entire way of lighting, your open world. And who knows what they're going to do with it. But this is likely not going to be the best version of Slipspace that we're going to see right now with Halo Infinite.
Well, why wouldn't you consolidate what your developers are working on? Like if you have four
the investment though, Zocker, like
I understand like that investment, I understand, but you also invested in almost $8 billion
Mixer.
in Bethesda. You invested $70 billion in in
they built out Halo's engine specifically to tackle those challenges.
They built out Halo's engine to tackle those challenges, but what if Infinity Ward's engine is already tackling those challenges? What if they've been working on that for
another 4 years to switch over and make shit out of that thing? I mean,
the whole point of the Unreal engine, they're switching over things from the Unreal engine very quickly because it's easy to do so. What if id Tech's already doing that?
I think Slipspace will be fine. They just need to get bodies on the game and finish the damn game and get content out and put the co-op in the game. Get the damn ray tracing going in the game that wasn't going to be there when it's supposed to launch before it got delayed. Still ain't there. Half a year later. It's pathetic. Just get the stuff going.
There's got to be something to Phil saying. There's got to be something to Phil saying a year and a half ago. Like, just imagine, id Tech working together with Halo, or he said something like that, right? Fonz, you clocked that immediately. There's got to be something where, at one point, Phil looked at the development of Halo Infinite and thought, "Oh my gosh, I wish this was somewhere else."
That's where I was going to agree with Zocker. I mean, I see him, he's talking from that developer aspect, whereas if he's looking at another engine and it does something, say, faster or easier or something more streamlined, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you try to use something like that? I get that because with Unreal Engine 5, that's the kind of stuff we're hearing about it. And it makes a lot of sense for all these companies. Like, look at CD Projekt Red. They decided to say, hey, our Red Engine's trash. We're going to Unreal Engine 5,
Well, not to
maybe
mention,
for
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
Who are they going to hire? Who are they going to hire at 343? Like somebody firm that's working on FPSs. Come work on Slipspace so you can learn a whole other engine.
Hey, when
you're
you
going to hire people internally.
There's a bigger problem at 343, though, because you have to remember 343 built Halo Infinite. They were talking about there was at least 30% of that workforce was outsourced. It wasn't even part of 343. They were gone within 12 months. So like they just kept hiring new guys to come in and work on the project. And that's what was really bad and it really took a long time. Plus some other stuff that was going on behind the scenes.
That's the downside of contracting your workforce.
But But the thing is, at the end of the day, I think that's why they're hiring now. They're on a big hiring spree because they want to get Halo Infinite up to par. They want to get it right. Look, I can make all the jokes I want. I've really talked down on 343 for many years now. I'm still not sold on 343. But what I played in Halo Infinite, the campaign, I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I'm down and willing to let them bolster up their studio and try and get this right. I'm down with that.
Well said. Well said. Let me go to D. I want to get. If we don't hear D, we'll go through withdrawals because he's amazing. But if you're enjoying the show, there's well over 900 people who watch the show. If you're having a good time, show your support by hitting the like. Let's get up to 500. We got to hear from D Batch. D Batch, let me ask you if you can remember what you're going to say. I got to ask you as you lead in. Is the Slipspace engine a major hurdle that's taken so long for Halo Infinite to get to where they need to be?
Yeah, most definitely. And I gotta say, it's gotta be discouraging for them as well to see Unreal Engine 5 and see all the things that are possible and to see how quickly they're able to bring over all of their assets or whatever their engines into the Unreal Engine 5. I think, I'm being honest, I think it's mid. I think the engine is mid. I did enjoy Halo. I thought it was a fantastic game. At parts, it looked beautiful. At parts, it looked dull. But for me to sit there and say, oh my God, it was the most amazing looking game would be 100% cap. And when you got Unreal Engine 5 about like, just bookmark this date. It's about to take over the industry. Why would you have an engine that's already struggling? Why would you put more resources into it? I would just cut my losses and switch over to Unreal Engine 5 or do some type of collaboration with another studio within Microsoft. But that engine alone, it's just not going to cut it for next generation.
Let me ask you something, though, Deeb. What's broken about it?
Well,
because they hit their target. They hit the art style they were going for.
Well,
I don't think it's a broken engine. I think it's too early to say that, it's a fail.
It's unfortunate that they built a brand new engine and they put out a game that looks very much cross-generation, which it is.
Yeah.
It's a cross-generation game. It was made to run on an Xbox One, Matric Edition, right? Dealer, is that like you said in a couple years we're going to see it improve? Is it going to start looking more refined, or is it just going to kind of clean up?
I think Dealer dropped out.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Dealer. So I would say this. I don't trust the engine to make the progression that we think we're going to see in the engine that we've seen in id Tech 7. Like id Tech 7, like from id Tech 6 has 10 times the geometric details, higher texture fidelity, all this stuff. And the one thing people aren't taking into account is what we've always talked about, which is time. Like these engines, id Tech has been worked on for freaking like 20 years plus.
Yes.
You look at this new Infinity Ward, they're talking about bringing out their new engine this year. The new Call of Duty is going to be on the new engine this year. This isn't something that they were just like, we're just doing it now. No, all the games feed off of that engine. So they have all these people, thousands of developers working on it, not 500 or 800 that like Halo has with 343, which is one studio working on it. And if Slipspace was that engine that they can probably use across all these developers, I wouldn't see Xbox developers going to Unreal Engine 5. 10 of them are going there. 10 are going to Unreal Engine 5. I think Slipspace is going to be with Halo Infinite. They might try to salvage it by putting more money towards it, but why even do that if you have id Tech sitting right there that you own, and we already know that is one of the most the best optimized game. And by the way, id Tech just got DLSS in June 2021. Imagine how long it's going to take everybody else to get it decent on Slipspace.
Yeah,
so
I think somebody pointed this out in the chat, though, and this has to be said. They own id Tech, right? So what's to say they can't help out with the Slipspace engine?
Why?
Help them out a bit.
Why?
not?
Why take those? Why take those amazing resources?
Here's the thing.
Put them
I
on
think
something that's like all the way down here when you could take those resources and put them up here where it already is.
Well, you're watching a bunch of demos and Epic talk about their own engine and bolster it so much. But have we not seen other engines look just as amazing? Like, I'm just saying, we're talking too soon on the Slipspace.
It's not the engine that makes a game look amazing.
We're talking too soon on Slipspace.
But
that's all I'm saying.
I'll say this, what you said right there, they're showing us demos. We actually got to play the Matrix. And it's not a full-ass game, but it's a game enough. That's the biggest type of demo I've freaking ever seen, where you can drive every single car in there and you can go wherever you want. So the proof is kind of there in the pudding. It's there, and that was made already. So imagine people investing time into it, and once again, people are missing the point with Unreal Engine 5. Yes, it's got all these great assets and you can do all these things in it, but it's the tools that are available that.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying that. I see all
like
that.
Steps like months.
I see all that, but my whole point is, at the end of the day, when you're looking at this new Slipspace engine, that's just it. It's brand new. They just built this for this game, for a game that was cross generational, and they wanted to. They hit the art style they were going for, whether you like it or not. I'm just saying it's too soon to say that it's a failure, in my opinion. I just think it's too soon.
You asked me one thing that I didn't like about the engine in Halo. When you're like flying over the world, the pop-in is atrocious, man. It's atrocious, and you lose.
They will hide it enough for that last reveal.
And even on a high-end PC, man, with a 3090.
I've seen Unreal Engine at work in some of these demos and seen pop-in too. So,
somebody said that id Tech wasn't built for open world. No, it wasn't, and neither was Unreal Engine. Yet CD Projekt Red is going there because they want to do that. The coalition just spoke about helping Unreal Engine become better for open world. Like that was one of the demos they just talked about, was generating an open world game, which maybe that's what Coalition's working on, as an open world game. All these things take time to iterate through. Apex was the engine used during Rage 2. Some people said Rage 2 was id Tech. id Tech did help with that game, but it was more the shooting mechanics. Apex did the generation of the world, like putting it all out there. So that's the whole point. Now, Infinity Ward, with their engine, it is built for open world. What is Warzone? It's a massive open world with 200 plus people in it fighting. That is a massive open world that you can put out there and play. If you just make some tweaks, that's the whole point of this. That they've been working on I'm looking at it right now.
Why is that? Why is that, Zocker? Because they've progressed in their engine. They've actually worked on their engine.
Since 2004.
And
let me ask you guys a question.
That's why I'm saying it's too early to say Slipspace needs to be chucked. It's too early for that. In my opinion.
I agree. Let me ask you a question, Zocker.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say you get a chance. Like really, really imagine you got a chance to sit down with a couple of lead technical directors at 343 and you ask them, how long would it take you to take Halo Infinite and start moving it over to Unreal Engine 5? What do you think their answer would be?
I mean, I don't know about Unreal Engine 5. I don't know. I think it would say like...
Or id Tech.
I'd say if it's id Tech or Infinity Ward, it depends if they get help, right? If there's no help and they move it over, that's going to be a while. But my whole point is, I'm not trying to kill Slipspace. Like, I think they created Slipspace when Xbox wasn't buying anybody. They weren't getting id Tech. They weren't getting Infinity Ward. They weren't getting these awesome developers that have these awesome engines. If the Activision Blizzard sale goes through and the FTC allows it, I don't even understand why we were even having this discussion. If you have Infinity Ward and id Tech, it's pick and choose between the two best first-person engines in the world. Why go anywhere else? And why put in 343? Because let's all be real here. 343 has talented people there, no matter what anybody says. They got extremely talented people there. Why not get those talented people to help Infinity Ward become even better, or help id Tech become even better? Why not get those engines on there on Halo, one of the best first-person shooters in the world in Halo, and put it on the best freaking engines in the world? Why not?
And let me say something that I know Fonz, D, and Zocker and I are all thinking that you're probably not sure if we're saying. We know Halo Infinite feels fantastic. We know it can look and be better and bigger with iterations or with improvements. Like, I already know, and I've already thought about this and kind of talked about it in a video like a couple weeks ago, but I know that the seasonal thing, it'll get better. Like Halo Infinite, even if it stays on Slipspace, which I'm sure it will get bigger and better because that foundation's really good. They just launched a product with a fairly,
guys,
a great open world ring, but it was one biome. Like if it would have been multiple parts of the ring that looked different, I think it would have gone a long way.
You got to understand, they had to put it on the fat Xbox One as well. I mean, that's literally why.
And I sat right here on the RDX podcast for a long time with you guys and said, cross generation won't hold anything back. And
it does to
Halo
a certain
Infinite
degree.
kind of smacked me right in the face with that one.
Yeah, I don't care what really is said. Does it do things scale? Yes, but I think there is a point where scaling there's design choices they put in place based off of older hardware.
Let's talk about design choices. The one thing people aren't taking into account is we're talking about id Tech, and then the Infinity Ward, the two best first-person shooter engines out there. That's ultra successful. Let's look at the ones that haven't been ultra successful. Frostbite engine has been in development since 2007 when they made Bad Company in 2008. So that's been going on almost, 15 or 20 years now, and it still has problems. And people are still struggling with it. They try to open it to build open world games with Andromeda. The combat feels great, but again, it's having troubles to this day. And then you look at everything else, like look at Crytek. Crytek at one point was like kind of at the top, and everybody was like, this is really great.
Yeah.
Still went down. So why would you take resources away? Once you pull away,
there's a
and try to look
difference,
at something
though.
else.
There's a difference between Frostbite and, say, Slipspace. One of the main key differences that EA forces those devs to use Frostbite.
Exactly.
343 is not
all of
forced to
them
use
together.
Slipspace. They wanted to use Slipspace. They built this for their game.
They use Slipspace because they were using code. Sorry. They were using code all the way back from Bungie in 2001 in their engine on Halo 4. And they were like, we basically had a code debt. That's what it's called, where we can't get through these problems, or we're going to hit a ceiling of not being able to be creative in our games because the code does not allow it. So that's why they created Slipspace.
I just have a question. I just want to ask you and D both. What is it that you don't like about Halo Infinite using Slipspace right now? Like, you played the game.
The capabilities, like I'm watching the stuff that Unreal Engine is capable of doing. I'm watching, even like, let's go back to
I'm asking.
I don't think it has
exactly
to do so much with the engine.
Like,
I think it has to do with how the studio implemented things. Like when you play the Halo Infinite campaign, I played it twice. I know Fawn's probably right with me, right? You play it, it's got the bare bones, bare minimum, just good enough. I freaking loved the campaign. It was great, but it needed more variety. And it just kind of did just enough of the open world. You've got targets you could take out, stuff we've done for 15 years in modern AAA games. It had some collectibles. It had some upgrade stuff you could do. The grapple was freaking amazing.
Yes,
and it's not so much the engine is the problem. A lot of it, probably first and foremost, is the team.
Yes.
And Joseph Staten has come in as a leader. And I feel like, man, they brought him in so late. They brought him in at the bottom of the ninth inning with bases loaded, and they brought him in to MLB, the show reference for you guys. They brought him in like way too late and out of the last-ditch effort. And he's really good. He's that guy. He probably is walking around the team going, come on, gosh dang, kick some A, like Lieutenant Dan.
I think he cut stuff. Like, let's be honest. I think he cut stuff. I think what you're saying, what specifically we don't like from the engine. Number one, like I play on Xbox and I want the hardware to be used. It's not being used to its full potential. When you look at PC, I played on PC also. It doesn't have DLSS. It doesn't have ray tracing. It doesn't have a lot of stuff on there that the engine doesn't have. While I go over to play Doom Eternal, and that has ray tracing, reflections, everything, the bells and whistles, and it runs at like 1,000 frames at ultra 4K, and it's like, whoa, what an optimization! And then you run Infinity Ward's game.
But
that's the status quo too, right, Zocker?
But that's also because they've had a lot of issues at 343. We've talked about that, and they push this game as fast as they can out there. When Joseph came in there and started, telling them, hey, we got to get this game out, but we got to put out a good product. They did that. It was decent. Like, was it the best looking game? No. Could it have been better? The lighting, all this, feature rich stuff that's coming along in some of these games in Unreal Engine 5. It didn't have all that stuff, but we can't say that the Slipspace engine can't do that.
Can I hold on? Give me a second. People are saying, well, ray tracing doesn't mean more fun. No, I get what you're saying, guys. Johnny, all these guys. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that for the Xbox Series X, the one I have right here that I'm looking at, Xbox said hardware accelerated ray tracing. A lot of developers, third party, were talking about ray tracing. Running things at 4K 60 is the new standard, blah, blah, blah. And we're not getting those. And I paid money for stuff that they said they're going to have. I'm not going to sit here and shill for anybody. I'm just saying people in chat are saying that. They're like, oh, does it mean more fun? No, it doesn't. But running Sea of Thieves, like I know people hate that game, but that's optimized very well. That thing runs at 120 max setting with ray tracing for like HDR. Like it looks beautiful.
I gotta point out something though. You guys are looking at the Unreal Engine 5 demos, and you're looking at stuff that's cutting edge for next generation or this generation we're on now. We're looking at we're comparing it to Halo Infinite, which is cross-generational. It's one game. Wait for the second. See how they implement it on next gen only. and we'll go from there.
But okay,
I'll
that's
ask,
all I'm
I'll ask
saying.
D. Go ahead, D. I want to ask you, because I feel like Halo Infinite targeted the late 2010s tech, right? It basically targeted what you'd get on a 1070 or a 10 series or a 20 series card on PC, and it targeted what you'd get on an Xbox One X or whatever.
Right.
That's how I feel. So tell us what you're going to say.
No, I was going to say if the Slipstream engine is at where it's at right now, it's going to get better in time for sure.
Mm-hmm.
However, these engines, there's a lot better engines out there right now, and those are also going to get better in time.
But how do you know?
I
do you work with the Slipspace engine? Do you know the ins and outs of this?
I can tell by what they pushed out on PC. I can tell how far
you have a development team that was in turmoil. There was a lot of stuff going on there behind the scenes. We've heard about Halo Infinite, and it's
I'm going to drop a 5-word grenade and let it go back to D-Batch. I believe Halo 5 looks better than Infinite. Go D.
Wow.
In some ways, I don't
You're such
disagree.
a troll.
It was more beautiful. I'm sorry. It really was.
More colors, whatever. But I honestly, I feel that they're behind. I don't think they're gonna keep up to the level of Unreal Engine 5 and some of these other engines out there. I think they're behind. I think we're in a race to have the best looking games, the best playing games, to have the next generation upon us. And in 2026, not 2026, sorry, next year, we're going to be seeing a lot of only next generation games. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of cross generation games next year. So where does that put the?
I think it's starting.
Bro, I think you're selling a lot. I think you're selling a lot of other engines out there short. I mean, what Naughty Dog does with look what they did with their
Yeah, but we're not talking about Naughty Dog's engine. We're talking about the Slipstream, and I just don't think it's up to par. Nor will it catch up in time.
They hit their target on the art style they wanted to go for, and they had to build for the Xbox One Fat as well. I mean,
but
there's so much there that's different. We're looking at all these Unreal Engine 5 demos again for cutting edge technology. This is going forward, and who knows? The Slipspace engine could be great. It might be trash. I don't know, but we got to let them build upon what they already have.
My argument to you is that every engine that we're talking about built games for cross-gen. Every game that we talked about, everything we talked about, Call of Duty, we talked about Doom.
It's true.
The way they were optimized, they looked amazing.
But not every game had
what they're going to look like when they only concentrate on the next gen.
Not every game had as much of a development. Were in development hell like they were at 343 with Halo Infinite. Come on.
I think the one thing that
gotta
hurt
take
Halo
that into account
was it wasn't as graphically amazing as everyone expected it to be. I think what saved Halo was the gameplay, because the campaign was solid. I freaking enjoyed the hell. I cursed the hell out of it because I played it on heroic, but I loved that game. You guys know my hatred for the last Halo. This was an amazing experience, but there was a lot of areas that it was lacking, and I was able to overlook it because the gameplay was so good. Now, when you have this is my opinion, when you have next generation engines coming out that tick all the boxes, I'm not going to be so forgiving at that point that, okay, it's got a good story when I'm seeing amazing looking games with good stories, graphics, and gameplay.
I'm with you there.
I'm with you.
Say
I'm not
something.
saying, and I love Halo Infinite.
No, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I gotta say something because I'm watching the chat, because you guys are, even though you're arguing, you're all actually dropping some good facts really well in such a good argument. I love it. But when I think about it, because when D was talking, my mind started thinking about how they improved Halo Infinite for launch so much, where the armor and the weapons had that grit and that extra detail, and they just made the game look so much better than it looked at the release. And it was so close. And then when I started to think about it, because Pixelbit G in the chat said Halo 5 doesn't look better because the enemies were more detailed in Halo Infinite. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably true. And it really comes down to there wasn't a lot of busyness going on. Like in Halo 5, there's a lot of stuff going on in the sky and around you, but it's closed off. It's not an open world. And when I think about I said earlier, you went on this ring and there was only one area. And when you go on this one area where there's gray rocks, evergreen tree, some green grass, and then some shiny, Covenant interiors. And that was it, right? And after a while, you think, what could it? And I seriously think, after all the griping we've all four of us have done for good reason, right? If that game would have shipped with 3 or 4 different areas, a jungle area, a sand area, a snow area, and maybe a couple different looking interiors. Area. Like, remember when you go into the interior where it looks like an interior dirt training ground for Warzone, like toward the end? That looked amazing, but there wasn't enough variety. And I almost think, gosh dang, the game, like D's right, the game feels amazing. We loved the game. We love the campaign, but if it just had a little more variety, I think we wouldn't be worrying about how the game looks, because I think it still looks pretty good. Am I close, guys?
Yeah, I just think in the end, it's due to the development hell. I think that, at the end there was some push, there's some rush to get it out. It still looks fine. It wasn't the most graphical showcase out there, but it looked good enough. And, I wasn't a big fan of the art style myself, but it is what it is. They wanted to go for that art style.
I don't care for how the game looked, honestly. Like, what I mean by that is, I'm not here for the graphic thing. Like, oh, I want this engine for that. I'm saying performance wise, development wise, get this game, because we should not be waiting 6 or 7 years for another Halo. Sorry, I don't want to wait that long. I think that if they go to another engine, we'll be able to get that sooner. Like, now that Slipspace is done, that might be even we get something sooner. And if Slipspace blows up and they do really well, and the next Halo looks fantastic and it's run well and it has all the bells and whistles we're talking about, because it's a first party studio and that's what I want out of the Xbox and PC, then I'm going to be happy. Then I won't even say anything about it. But from what I'm seeing, we're not getting the stuff that they said there was going to be there. Obviously, the development hell does suck, but as a gamer, I don't care about that. Fix your shit. So fix it. Get it done so I can play Halo, because Halo Infinite is my favorite Halo by far campaign-wise. I got immersed. I put 35 hours. I have over 1,000 achievement points. I just played with Hargeet in the community, like I think it was like 2 nights ago, and we had a blast. We played for like an hour straight, like an hour and a half straight, and I was just shooting people. We're having fun, laughing. Like, the game is fun. It is fun because it's Halo, because we know what Halo is. And
it does seem like maybe they got everything kind of under control for the engine as they were launching the game, and now they're finally getting to all that content. They're so far behind, but I don't want to talk about Halo too long, or maybe we'll just fall over and die.
Cole, the thing is, at the end of the day, I'll just say my piece here about Halo. Halo Infinite, the campaign was great. Even the multiplayer was great from what I played. The problem is, at the end of the day, the reason why anybody complains really about Halo right now isn't the graphics or anything. It's that they just don't have enough content there. They just didn't have enough when they pushed it out. And that's their fault. And that's all part of that development hell. But at the end of the day, I think the Slipspace engine, they should just, we'll see what it looks like next. In the second one, whatever.
Yeah, 343 is one of their most expensive studios, and good enough is not good enough, is what we're saying. And they know that, and this game is going to grow over time. I got to give a shout out to over 1,000 people who are watching. If you're having a good time, if our crazy takes haven't driven you crazy enough, let's get up to 500 likes. We're just a couple away from there. I got a couple super chats I got to bring. This is the Excellency Podcast. We're live on the Cole Eastwood channel, and this will be up on demand on Cole Eastwood's channel. That's me when it's done, and also on Spotify, Google, it's me, and Apple and Pocket Podcasts. So that's kind of a nice video on demand thing that you can listen to while you're working out or washing the dishes. Fonz loves to come over and wash my dishes for me, and then I make him a sandwich because he's amazing. But let me get a super chat here.
That got weird, but I like it.
Bacon and peanut butter.
Bacon and peanut butter sandwich with Fonz, and then Fonz walks in and goes, "Thanks for the sandwich." He's got the peanut butter on the corner of his face, like your buddy did,
and milk mustache too, because I like to wash it down with some milk.
Milk mustache and the peanut butter corners, and you are good to go. Lord Starkiller, the $5 super says, "I'm looking forward to Starfield and Forza Motorsport gameplay. I'm betting we're going to see that at E3." Koi Cadaver sends a $20 super chat. Thanks so much. He says, "Hi Zocker." People are really excited to see you on camera. I think they've missed some of the other several shows you've been on Iron Lords.
So many people think I've been on Iron Lords, I've been on yours, I've been on Gaz's, and people are like, face reveal. I'm like, for the 18th
You've been on mine?
And someone goes,
and everybody watches mine. I've got like 1 million views on my podcast with you. So come on.
Make a Cyberpunk video.
You know what? This isn't an RDX collab with you. This is a Games Talk Live collab with XNC. There we go.
It is.
Dealer left. He's gone. I need to take this background off. Dealer.
Yeah, switch it to something else. Bunty with a $2 says the crew is back, but where is Tim Dog? Tim Dog was dropping in and out because his AOL disc was all used up. And so he's ignored to net zero. He'll be back again. Danta Taku, thank you so much for the $5. Says, why are you all trying to kill off an engine in its first iteration while comparing it to engines on their 5th and 7th iteration? Freaking good point. Yeah, and I think we did cover that after you sent that you guys said it really well, how these engines have been like refined. They got to refine Slipspace. Alex Ateros, thank you for the $5. Facts. Says, hell of a show you guys have today. Brigadier's Blue says, Spawn spitting facts. $2 super chat. And Drawn TJ says, Slipspace engine is fine. Give it time. Plus, they can merge IdTech engine with the Halo engine. I don't know how that works, but that sounds amazing.
You can't do that. It depends. You just can't do that.
You still file save as, don't you, Docker?
You just take the folder and then you take the other folder and you merge them.
Just drag and drop.
It just magically works. That's what I did. That's what I did at school.
Drag and drop. That's all you got to do. Drag and drop.
Hey, Dub says in the chat, this is so perfect. He says, I think it was because the art style, not the engine. And I'm with them. I bang that drum a lot. Like people say, Naughty Dog's on another level. And it's like, that's not so much the engine. It's Naughty Dog's forte is attention to detail. Like they build things to the nth degree in the detail, and it just shines through at every turn.
And that's my point. That was my point about 343. It's all about developers and their engine coming together. Whatever engine they're using, it doesn't matter.
If you have great animators, talent, you have to have great modelers. Like a lot of times, someone sits down and models that Marine that's fighting by your side. If you turn the camera, look at them, and they're like, that's on like how they cut corners. And if you look over and see an NPC in Spider-Man and he's got like a paper face, it's all about attention to detail. Don Lazario says, D always coming in. I'm going to change it to with the good takes. Now D's been making super good points tonight. D is the man.
Though,
Lord,
I want to say with Fonz though, you know what? Perhaps we could give them another chance with the engine.
We have
maybe one more chance.
Yeah, but if they miss out like on key things like ray tracing, D, I'm with you. Like, what are you doing? Like, if you're missing out on things that you've promised, that's where I'm in agreement with both of you.
Was it Zocker that said that Staten came in and cut things so they could get released? Or was that you, Fonz?
Well,
no, I think it was Zocker.
That was me. I said, they had to. Of course they had to. They'd be like, hey, let's get this game out. We got to cut some stuff out. And I'm not saying like story or anything like that. Like obviously co-op. Hey, we got to push some things. It's called like putting it in tier as a priority, people. And that's what you do in development. Sometimes you're not going to meet stuff that was, your number 2 tier. You just push it to 3 and you focus on the things that you need absolutely there to launch a game. Ray tracing wasn't one of them. Co-op wasn't one of them. So that's what they did.
Zocker, do you like leaving the drive-thru and they say you want a chicken sandwich and they say, oh, the chicken's going to be an extra 10 minutes. You're like, oh, I'll just take the fries and the Diet Coke.
No, I smash the screen and I say, "Give me my chicken, you son of a!" No. And I don't order chicken.
Coming around and coming through the front doors. I'm going to the ball pit.
I order gyros.
I just love it when they tell you to pull around front and park, and I'm like, I'm the only one in the line. Why do I got to pull around? I can wait right here.
Why do they got to leave you on the go over and park next to the building? Lord Starkiller, thank you so much for the $10. He says, what does the panel think of UE5's integration with RDNA 2 features? Crap, I'm going to ask D-Batch on this. Is Unreal Engine 5 and RDNA 2 features like VRS, mesh shaders, and all that stuff, right? You're an expert on this, D. Are there going to be some connections? Are there going to be some alleviation with that?
I don't know. I don't know if they really need to use the mesh shaders in their engine with the way they have things running. Well, VRR we know is going to be a part of it for sure, right? I think the major problem, I was watching a video today, I think the major problem that they're having with that engine now is foliage. I think that's the only thing that's really missing to be implemented to that engine is foliage. So I think the consoles are going to be well optimized for it. And the reason why I say this is because it's already running better on consoles than it is on PC. So I think the consoles are going to be well optimized for it. I think this is going to be our best chance to see most of these next generation features working. And let's not forget, RDNA 3 is right around the corner, and those features are going to get announced in the summertime, and Unreal Engine 5 is also going to support that. So it's going to be interesting to see.
PS5 already has it.
Oh yeah, man. RDNA 5, what are you talking about, man? They're well ahead.
I can't wait to get out of this cross-generation thing. We've been like jammed into it with very few exceptions. Drawn TJ says Halo runs at 4K 60, and he says that was fun, Zocker. Neil B says, D, hope you're all having fun with Fonz and Colt. Have a great Monday. Splendiferous says, Zucker's being toxic on your show. Stop him. Okay,
Zucker is a toddler.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it, and I love it, and I hate it again.
and I love it.
I love it, and I love it.
a lot.
Randall Williams says, just got my Xbox. Loving it so far. Randolph, in the chat, tell us what game you launched up first on the Xbox Series X, because I'm always curious to see what someone loads up first when they get a superpower.
Minecraft in 4K.
Special Nick, thank you so much for hanging out in the chat. I would love to be on your show again, but if you don't want me, I understand. He says podcast needs more Greek flavor than just soccer. Well, we should get you in here again, Nick, because
come hang out. Come on.
Remember we used to say Malacca on like every show?
Yeah, because of Odyssey.
Please,
we're in a party.
please, English only right now. Please, English only. I don't know if you're talking about me.
No, we used to say
me
Malacca
or...
constantly. I even made a T-shirt that nobody bought, but I should have made one for myself. You know what? I'm going to go do that.
T-shirt?
I did.
I will literally wear that at a Greek. I will wear that.
I took the Assassin's Creed upside down V thing, and I wrote Malacca under it. Where it was cool. I'll have to dig that up.
And then you made
Saint
another one.
Welcome as a channel member. He's got the Raz profile icon I drew. Welcome to the channel. Like I said, if you're a channel member, you get access to the custom emojis. You know, I'm going to throw these in here because I drew them. You get these boom, bomb, sling, blow, bing. But we're gonna go into the next top. If I talk any more about Halo, I'm going to break the physical disc I don't own of Halo.
Yay!
And I love it and I hate it and I love it yet again. So anyway, I gotta ask you guys about Jim Ryan of PlayStation is so adamant. I'll start with D because I know that Zocker and Fonz could like get on a soapbox. I like go crazy, but I gotta ask. I gotta ask you. Jim Ryan says if they go day and date in their PlayStation Premium service, yes, I said that correctly.
Premium,
it will reduce the quality of their exclusives. D, preach the gospel.
That's like a crap. Oh my god, man! How would they work less? Would they work less hard? Like would they, take days off? Would they say, it doesn't matter as much now because it's going into a subscription service? That's just the most ridiculous comment that I've ever heard. The real answer is, we don't think we'd be able to get as much money out of you guys up front, but I think Sony's really being their own worst enemy here because I honestly believe if Sony, and I know Xbox guys are going to get mad at me here, but I believe if Sony had a service where all their exclusives were day and date, I think it could surpass Game Pass.
You're full of shit, D. Shut your mouth.
Because Sony. So what does everyone always talk about Sony?
I always knew he was an undercover pony, dude. I always knew it.
And I'll be honest, my PlayStation 5 exists in my living room because of those exclusives. It's not, I didn't get it for the multiplats. I got it for their exclusives that I can only play on that console. Now, if you had a service that allowed me to play those day and date, I would subscribe to it. And you know what?
Hold on. Colt's getting up. Look at that, Thickums.
And it would benefit
you guys
them
making it warm in here.
Ooh,
it would benefit
Oh my
them
gosh,
in
that was a good shot on my rear end.
There's
seeing
so
it in
many
the
months
replay.
out the year that Sony.
Hey,
so many months.
Sorry, D. Go ahead. We were talking about my rear end. Go ahead.
Sorry, man. I was just saying there's so many months out the year where Sony doesn't release games. And with them having a subscription service, these people are going to stay in that service all year long. And that's money generated all the time. So Sony really is being their worst enemy here. And I think, unfortunately for them, they're going to have to change, but looks like they're going to go, kicking and screaming, man.
D's 100% right on. Look, this is what I've been saying as well. If they were to go day and date, as soon as their premium launched, they would immediately get so many people jumping on there. And I'm not saying it would surpass Game Pass right away, but it would.
How many would jump on, Fonz?
It would definitely be. It would definitely be competitive. It would be double digits for sure right away. I mean, you're looking at least, I would say at least 20 mil would jump in that first day. Because the thing is, yes, of course. And I think D is 100% right when he says,
I mean, like 20 million of the 50 million PS Plus subscribers would like make that.
Oh, yes.
Make that upgrade.
100%. Right? And anybody out there as a Sony fan saying, I don't want them to go day and date. I want my exclusives to be kept, separate. I want to spend $70 on my games. They're full of crap. They're full of crap.
Exclusive. Do it.
They would jump on this so fast because D is 100% right when he's talking about how they don't even have that much they put out every year. They're exclusives. They may have 2 games a year that they put out. They're big AAA blockbuster exclusives. You may get 1 or 2 every year. And people
First party. 2, maybe 3,
and people would still hang on to that subscription, just like people still hang on to Game Pass subscriptions. I'm telling you, you might get more from Xbox and Game Pass, but even just those 1 or 2 games alone will keep people hanging on that their premium service, I myself included.
Special Nick says if Sony
that.
had a day and date, they'd pass Game Pass numbers very, very quickly. I think he's super right because, like Fonz is alluding to, like 20 million in a day might be a crazy thing that Fonz
No,
said.
I think,
But
look, because Game Pass has already did the legwork for them. They've already shown casuals that, hey, Game Pass and a service like this is wonderful. And as soon as Sony says, hey, we've got day and date too, they're going to go, ooh, Game Pass for Sony and jump
I
on
got to
it.
pass this to Zocker, but I got to say, admit, guys, right? PS Plus has pretty dang good games almost every month for your
Yes.
online requirement service,
Yes.
right? So if you're looking at that and going, okay, I get at least 1 really good game every month from PS Plus for $5 more a month or $8 more a month, I could get Ragnarok when it comes out. It's going to come with Horizon Forbidden West. It just came out that I haven't bought yet or whatever, and I'm going to get all the big games. Like, it would be huge. Zocker, what is going on with this preach on this? Jim Ryan saying that their games will lower in quality, because I know you have a lot to say.
Jim Ryan saying that is that's just a stupid take. It's not going to lower the quality of your games. It's just going to expand your games to reach more gamers, which it did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's done for other people that are not just AA, single A, or AAA developers. Now, as for what D and Fonz are saying about it going to 20 million people or whatever the number, right, surpassing Game Pass even, I don't think that's going to happen unless one thing happens. Or 2 things, actually. 1, it goes to PC. 2, it goes to cloud. Because everybody got to remember, this 25 million people is not just console. It's PC, cloud, and console. Yeah. So Sony's not going to do that. Sorry. It's not going to happen if it's just on the PlayStation. Not going to happen. They're not going to pass 25 million or 20 million. It's not.
I disagree.
It's got to be on PC too.
It's got to be on PC.
I disagree.
Because if you look at the sales numbers for their big bangers, that's going to be the main attraction. Those sales aren't hitting 20, 25 million people. That's the hardcore. Like, they get, like, I think for the first month or the first 3 weeks, God of War sold 3 million, which is great. But it took several years to get to 20. And those are the top upper echelon games. And what game have they not?
Forza Horizon 5 hit 3 million in 3 or 4 days, right?
Let's be honest, guys. If they're going to do day and date on the platform, they're going to do day and date on the PC, because that's the least of their worries.
Oh no! If
really.
That happens, when if that happens, that's what I'm saying. If it's on PC, it's on cloud, just like Xbox. If they actually do that, which they don't have the infrastructure to do.
No, I don't think cloud needs to be included.
It'll get
you do
there.
Platform and PC, and I think they'll get that 20 million right away.
Their first party is not enough, and right now, to be quite honest, Xbox is at 25 million, and they're not talking about numbers because their first party is not enough right now. Xbox we've talked about has had a drought. They're not having any games come out till October, September. Like, that's the whole point, first party wise. Sony's in that same boat. Sony didn't have anything at the end of last year, and then this beginning of the year they had some pretty good games. But one thing they didn't talk about was Horizon Forbidden West's sales. Why? Why didn't they talk about that? So that's what I'm saying, is that those first party games are not enough. You need a big game like Outriders. You need a big game like Extraction. Games you don't know about.
Wait. No, you're not going to go there. Look, I don't personally care for Horizon Forbidden West. I think it's, for me, rather boring. But I do respect people's opinions, and a lot of people out there are saying that the game is great, okay?
Yeah.
A lot of people will even give it a freaking 9, 10 out of 10. That's fine. It's definitely a better game than Outriders. I will say that.
No. I'm not saying that it needs to compete.
It's better quality all the way around.
We need third-party developers date in there.
And I disagree. That game would sell a subscription service for because I'd rather play that sort of game in a subscription service for Sony rather than spend $60, $70.
No, I'm talking about have Horizon in there. And have Outriders. You need both. I'm saying.
Oh, you don't need both for some. I'm telling you,
third-party developers. You need.
They've already started. They had Shadowware 3.
Shoehorn in.
I think I think you're both right. I think just the Sony games alone, like honestly, I don't believe a word what these fans say. The fanboys say they're like, "Oh, I don't want to listen." These guys would be tripping us. They'd be knocking us over, trying to run ahead of us and get
And
the
subscribe.
subscription service. Okay,
I would.
First of all, Sony fans to a degree are pretty loyal, so they would go out and they would all get this service and start boosting the numbers. Oh, look how much we gained in a month. Oh, Game Pass ain't shit. Whatever, they'd be doing that. But I also do believe in the long run that they would also need to have third-party games in there, because they would have to compete with Microsoft, because they flip back and forth on the amount of first-party games. Sony right now has more, but Microsoft, once these studios start rolling, they're going to have a lot of first-party games coming out. But that cannot sustain the service alone. You need third-party games, so they would have to make some third-party deals. Now, as far as the cloud goes,
they already do. They make us more third-party deals than they do first-party games.
They've already started. That's what I'm saying.
But they're going to have to maintain it and have some big bangers in there, like Microsoft does. And as for the cloud, Zucker was alluding to, they don't have the infrastructure. Let's not forget that they did make that deal with Microsoft to use Azure. So at some point in time, that's going to have to come into play, and one of the problems is going to be solved. I think cloud is also so very important, but I think the main thing is having first-party games day and date. I really think that would drive the base, and I think it would run up the numbers quite quickly, especially if they were to launch this service in a time where they're having like 2-3 exclusives coming out in a short period of time.
Yeah, and I think I got to drop a little bomb here and say that I think Jim Ryan wants day and date, and I think Jim Ryan wants PC, like Zucker's saying, but I think other leadership within Sony and PlayStation are not cool with it.
100%.
And Jim Ryan is fighting a fight behind the scenes, and it's the reason why Jim Ryan says things like, kind of like a like a guy whose girlfriend like cheats him like crap, and like I've been there, right? And it'll lower quality. My girlfriend says I can't come over and watch the game because
we're down the stairs. That's why I have a black eye.
It's the reason why he's put his foot in his mouth many times. I'm in agreement with that, Colt, because I feel that way too.
Because it doesn't make sense, right?
Everything I read from that guy. Because it seems like a lot of people in the community, no offense to anybody here, because we've got a lot of intelligent people here watching, but there's a lot of people out there that will read headlines and they won't read the full article.
Yeah.
And I'll go in and I'll read that article and I'll go, why isn't anybody talking about this? This is the key part. Like when Jim Ryan was talking about not being able to put the games, or not wanting to because it might lower quality and all that. In that same article, he talked about how, this can change very quickly. Day and date could change very quickly for us. The industry is always changing quickly. Like it could. And he says that in that same article. Nobody's really reporting on it. Nobody's talking about it, but they just want to key in on other things. And I'm like, guys, he's putting stuff out there all the time to tell you that things could change. And
all those little things like the consoles aren't enough, and all those little things he says, it's like his way of saying, look, I hear you, but my hands are tied. And especially Nick said that he talked about it in his podcast last week. I need to check out his podcast. He had Gaz on, but he said what we said was almost word for word. He says that Jim Ryan's spinning a lot of plates, meaning he's juggling a lot of the things he has to do with PR and leadership. And it's the reason why these messages just don't make any sense. Drawn TJ with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, give them till next year for Halo. See if everything, if we don't see everything next year, they'll have to adopt Unreal Engine 5. Yeah. Hargy Chani, thank you so much. He puts an Elden Ring global key for Xbox for Elden Ring in the chat. He put that about 10 or 15 minutes ago. Let me know if you got it. People are copy and pasting super fast. Drawn TJ with another one says, hey, no smut, Colt. Laugh out loud as I got up and I shook my rear end to open the window. And here's a great one. Johnny Joe Bravo says in the chat, my girlfriend says, guys, take off your shirts. That's correct.
Oh my God. Billy Madison. I love that movie.
I love it. Yeah. Fonz and I are always doing the old Billy Madison stuff. And Lord Starkiller says, Jim Dance Move Ryan's moving the goalposts again. Is Jim saying a game like Forza Horizon 5 was lower quality because of day and date? That's the best part about this whole Jim Ryan saying it'll lower the quality. When last year, Xbox broke historic reviewed games and had the most nominations. And I think overall on platform won the most awards in the Game Awards. So it's
not only that, the Halo had the biggest launch in Halo history. Forza had their biggest launch in history. All these games are going crazy. Back 4 Blood is happy. When you look at like all these games that went on Game Pass day and date, they're extremely happy. Even Guardians of the Galaxy, which is like an 8 or 6, 7 month old game, are like, we're finally finding our audience because of Game Pass. And we're sitting here saying like, oh, it brings down the quality. No, it doesn't bring down the quality. A big reason of why Todd Howard and Pete Hines said that they wanted to join Xbox was because of Game Pass and Phil Spencer. Game Pass because they can get their games into so many people's hands. That's the whole point. When you hear developers talk, I understand there's ego. I understand there's money. I understand that, this
you
is
said this in your video.
Yeah, I said this in my video today. Like, I understand that this is a business, but at the end of the day, it's about having fun and bringing enjoyment to people. That's what we're all here for, is because we enjoy gaming, no matter what. Like, that's like all of us in the chat listening, everybody here, we love gaming. And at one point, it wasn't Xbox, it wasn't PlayStation, it wasn't the console bullshit. It was about games and what we did. Like when I was 6, you could afford one game a year, and you played that game for 1,000 hours. Like, come on,
tell me about it. Yeah, it's true. He's right, man. And I look at Jim Ryan, and I totally, I'm with you, Colt, with how I think
I feel bad for
feeling.
Him. Don't you?
It reminds me kind
Pebbles?
It kind of reminds me of the situation back in the day with Sega of America and Sega of Japan. I mean, it really caused a downfall for Sega. So I'm not saying that's going to happen with PlayStation at all, but I'm saying that they were at odds, and I feel like he's at odds right now with the higher ups.
Let me add one more thing. Like,
he's a business guy, man. He sees the numbers. He sees what Game Pass is doing, and I hate it when I hear people out there talking out the side of their mouth all the time as if they know for sure. Oh, Game Pass ain't making any money. They're losing all the time. They're hemorrhaging money all the time. How would you even know that, number one? You ain't in there. You're not looking at their freaking financial stats. Matter of fact, you can look at their financials, and every year they make more money on top of more money.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not like an American business perspective, but it is like this is a global strategy. Subscriptions are king. They're how we all consume most of our entertainment media, and it's really a paradigm shift for how we're doing it. And to do it with games was such a disruptive thing in the market, because games are not, $1 like a song or $20 like a brand new movie, right? This is a $60 to $70 thing. So really good points. Drawn TJ says, just wait till Call of Duty's in Game Pass day and date bundle with a Series S for $250 and like a holiday deal, or $450 if they have a price. Yeah, that would be a big deal. Hargit Johnny says, man, it would be cool if RDX Crew is on camera for RDX. What happened to Dealer? Dealer dropped out. Something came up. I'm glad we had him on here for a little bit. Dealer is he is a fiery bomb. And he only lasts so long before he explodes. And he brings it, right? That's what I love about Dealer. I don't know. I always thought how in the heck he did this show, how he does his show every week and doesn't follow. I think when the show's over, he probably passed out of sleep because he's got so much energy. But thanks to Dealer for being here. And of course, Tim Dog's camera or his feet totally died. Jedi Knight Peter with Australian $5 says, great show as always. Soccer was cool playing Halo with you on the weekend. Hammer time.
And really, the only reason why I even bring up the point about people always talking about their financials like that, is because I'm talking about Jim Ryan is looking at that. He's a business guy, right? He's in the business to make his company more money. That's what he's supposed to do. But as a gamer, who cares? Hey, who cares? Stop looking at the situation as, you're part of their business and saying, oh, they're losing money and all this stuff. Look, it doesn't matter if they're losing money or making money. At the end of the day, what matters is your own damn wallet. Care about what you're spending in this gaming space. Who cares what these companies are spending at the end of the day? I don't. Yeah. I personally just look at myself and go, do I want to spend $70 on games? No, I don't. And I'm not going to. That's.
Give us a mic check, Soccer.
I'm back. Sorry.
You're good.
Okay,
cool. Yeah,
I want to ask the detractors this, though. The detractors. If Game Pass is so bad and developers are losing money, why do we always see new developers going into the service? Why do we hear developers saying nothing but praise for this if they're not making money? And the number one question is, why is this year's iteration of MLB The Show in Game Pass if it's such a bad deal?
What did we say last year? Last year? Last
sound
year
effect.
we were still kind of like looking for what Game Pass is to people, and the number one thing we said is if they get repeat customers. MLB The Show is a repeat customer. Multiple studios have done repeat business with them. Look at Warhammer Vermintide 2. They're getting Darktide. Like those games like launched in Game Pass, and now they're going to be there again. Obviously, it's plain and simple that this Game Pass, like it works for developers. It works for them. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, they didn't sell. Like I know dealers said it sold millions, and I get that, but for Square Enix, it didn't sell enough. Yet that's the whole point, is that they're talking about that. And now they're like, well, we're getting money back. They got paid what? Like, what was it? Like 15 mil or something, or 20 mil or whatever the hell it was.
They speculate.
They speculate 15 to 20 mil. Like, okay, recoup some of our development. People are playing it, talking about it again. And I guarantee you people are buying Guardians of the Galaxy because of that. And that's exactly what it is. Like it helps nothing. Like, no, I said this in my video today it's one of those where like services where it benefits all parties involved. The developers get money and get exposure. Gamers get the best value, and Microsoft lines their pockets with things like, and nobody cares because, hey, it's a great service. So everybody wins.
That's what it's all about too, is it's the value, right? That's what I see is the value in the service. So if they were to get day and date and have a competitive service to Game Pass, a true competitive service over there at Sony, I'd be right there. I mean, as a gamer, that's all I care about.
Game Pass is not a charity.
Value.
Like, Xbox has a major return on investment with Game Pass. It's just weird to see Jim Ryan say, if we put our games in a subscription service, it'll lower the quality. While their own Sony San Diego studio put MLB 21 and 22 on a subscription service, which is kind of insulting. But the other part is like Hargy, shout out to Hargy. We were doing that math last week I talked about, where if they sell 3 exclusives per year on the PlayStation outright for $70, if they went to day and date, and if Fonz's numbers are anywhere, like not even remotely close, they don't have to be remotely close. All those people that went to subscription service, they could make 5 times, maybe 10 times more in revenue by charging people every month for a subscription service that they feel is a good value. And it's not a charity. Like I said in the beginning of this statement, it's not a charity. They're giving you a good value in smoke and mirrors because they're making a lot of money on you, and you're getting a bunch of games, and they're paying the developers. And it's this cycle that just works. It's the reason why we don't get rid of our Netflix subscription. It's why I'm never getting rid of Spotify, because I get so much enjoyment out of it.
It's funny.
I don't even need to give a whole speech about it.
You reminded me about something. Somebody in the chat earlier said that they were talking about, well, it's just like Netflix. Like it doesn't keep people there, because they don't, if once you get bored of it, you get rid of it. You're wrong. There are studies that have been put out there, and their retention is very high. Netflix's retention, most of those services are very high because people want to see, well, what are they going to come out with next? Yeah. That's why. Yeah. Like they stay. They end up just staying.
The studies show it's not what's on there; it's what's coming. That's what keeps people there. And the other thing that Netflix showed is that original content does bring people, but their most watched shows was like The Office, Seinfeld, stuff like that. Yep. Third party. That's what I'm saying, is you're going to need that third party like hype. Like you never know what's going to be in there. Like we got Extraction in there. Can you imagine if they strike a deal and it gets the next Assassin's Creed or it gets the next Watch Dogs, whatever it is, some big game, like that would be massive. But
or
it's
GTA
not
6.
Like, and this is Ubisoft, who has Ubisoft Plus. Maybe not. Like GTA 6, you're such a fraud.
Like GTA 5.
Again. So I'm just saying, like, we're talking about this stuff, but even with Ubisoft Plus, they're putting it in there. So
yeah.
Can I get Red Dead 1 with ray trace shadows, please?
Yeah. Bunty with a $5 super chat says Jim Ryan's basically saying when a movie goes to the theater to a street, or if a movie goes to the theater and to a streaming service, it loses quality, and that's stupid. Yeah, the whole thing ends when you realize that a developer never wants to put out a half-baked product or bad product, right?
I think at the end of the day, a lot of people will point to the fact that, well, Jim is talking about, the overall budget, that it'll lose quality because they can't spend that much on the game.
I think they can afford it.
But here's the kicker. If you look at the situation, like if you take a game that, is $200 million to make, let's say, it's a pretty big budget. You put that in there. You put it into a service that says get $25 million a month. That recurring payment. You're looking at almost $3.5 billion a year.
Yeah.
I mean,
at least
that's
$1 billion a year if they're on like some type of introductory offer, or they get some like Xbox gives out like this crazy conversion ratio.
But the crazy thing nobody brings up too is the fact that not only is that being
crazy good,
but it's not only in getting that recurring payment month by month. It's also being sold. There's still people buying the game as well.
Of course.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I just think it's excuses right now because, again, I think there's some struggle there. I think Sony really doesn't want to push and go forward and go through with this right away, and I think Jim does. I just do.
Yes,
I have a feeling.
Very well said. Very well said. John TJ says, Colt, your Panther members are falling off like flies. Love supporting the show, bud. But yeah, internet's crazy.
Did you see my face frozen? It was
internet sucks.
No,
I look like a deer. I look like an angry deer.
You always have the deer in the headlight look, though, Zocker. We love it.
Because I'm looking up at my screen up here, so I'm like,
Zucker always looks so pensive. He's like, yeah. I mean, we had snow last night here in Washington, so you never know what the heck is going on. Xbox is, I don't even think I'm allowed to talk about this, but Xbox is killing it in sales. Like green screen fonts. The Xbox is like almost 2-1 in many markets against PlayStation. Yeah. There is multiple layers. I want to start with D because a lot of this like goes back to like the investigative work with the chips. D, get us up to speed on what in the heck is going on with the chips and Microsoft paying for chip priority.
Yeah, so I was looking into that, and of course I saw your video, and you put out some good points why this is not the case. And the reason why a lot of people thought this is because Apple, they pay for space. They're going to be going to 3 nanometers, so they help with development, and then they get allocated extra space. AMD does this, Nvidia does this, so I can understand why people and myself, I vaguely thought maybe this could be a thing, but it doesn't appear to be the case. It just, I think it's just the S and the X. I think it's just more effective, and I think the most logical thing for me, once again, this is my opinion. I don't have any hard proof on this because people like to, "Ooh, I got you" moment, but this is just my opinion. I think there might be some issues with the yields because every PlayStation 5 chip has to run at a certain frequency. It has to. It cannot fail. Where the Xbox.
Yeah, because somebody said that the AMD cards, like the 6800 XT, which is close to the PS5, overclocks way further than the PS5 and doesn't have failure problems. But you just hit something that not a lot of people talked about, is that the PS5 has to be at that certain frequency, but it's set for spec.
Yeah.
So speak on that.
Yeah, it has to be at that frequency. So I'm thinking in yields, they're getting some chips that aren't quite reaching that criteria, and that could be an issue why we're not seeing as many PlayStation 5s. I've noticed that I see definitely a lot more disc versions than the diskless version. The diskless version seems to very rarely come into stock, and when it does come into stock, it's at a lot lower numbers. I'm seeing the Xbox Series S has been steady for quite some time, and now I'm starting to see the Xbox Series X coming in steady too. And it's not like it's coming in and it's just staying there and it's nobody's buying it. No, they're getting larger shipments in. People are still buying them because of course it's a larger shipment. They take longer to sell, but they still sell out eventually. So the demand is still there. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, honestly. It's just their manufacturing process is just a little bit better. I don't know if Microsoft has any favors with AMD. Like I know Microsoft and AMD behind the scenes, they're working on the neural network and the next iteration of DLSS that implements AI, machine learning AI. I know Microsoft and AMD are working on this. So I don't know if there's deals where they say, maybe we'll allocate you a little bit more stock. Really, okay, I don't think so. I don't think that's the case, to be honest with you. I just think really it's the PS5 is not meeting the criteria on all of their chips, all of their wafers.
There are a lot of things to connect together with this because I just looked and Walmart.com does not have Series X available. They're $700, $800. There's refurbished, so you can't buy a regular one. I looked on Amazon and don't see them here, which I think I only access North American Amazon. Zocker, we saw an influx of Series X's that just came out this past month. Quite a ton of them because they were there where they sat on the online retail store.
the last 4 months, there's been a lot of retail for Series X's. I know people that are getting them like crazy. I don't
but
think,
like
and I don't know if it's the
they
chip,
never sat on those sites for like more than a day until like this past month. And you and I were talking earlier, so I want you to kind of explain why you think a bunch of Series X's just started showing up on retail.
Yeah, the first thing I would say is I don't think it's like, oh, we just paid more money to get more chips. Like that could happen, but honestly, these deals are signed like years before the things going into production, and then not to mention you can't break out of these deals. These are deals with multi-billion dollars involved. This is Sony and Xbox, so I think it's more. We kind of talked about this, that a lot of the stuff we heard when the Series X was out was they were putting a lot of Series X chips and basically hardware into the servers to get the Azure servers and xCloud up to snuff where they're going to do that. Me and Colt were kind of talking about this. Maybe they kind of got to a point where they're like, you know what, we're comfortable with where it is. We're going to cut this down by 50% or 25% and start putting out more consoles now. Because that's something that like could be happening. And that, you know what, the manufacturers, all they care about is making the hardware. Xbox does whatever they want with it. And that's what they're going to do. They can maybe take it away from the servers, put it in there, but they got to a place where, okay, now we want to push the consoles and push them out more. Not to mention, they didn't really need to do that. Neither did Sony. Sony in December also said that they're going to support the PS4 and actually keep making PS4s because they can't make enough PlayStation 5s. So the demand is there no matter what anyone says. It's going to continue to be there. And then now these games that are coming out that are Xbox Series X and Series S only or PS5 only, now I think developers are going to feel a little more comfortable since they're going to be in that 15 to 20 million mark where they can get a couple million sales in there, plus the PC sales. That's where I think it's going to start differentiating, and that's why I think this is getting pushed. Not to mention things are, in the world, they're not normal, and they probably never might go back to normal. But at the end of the day, we are going towards that a little bit. Maybe the chip shortages is going to, go into next year and the year after, but I think it's going to become a lot less like hurtful and hard to get stuff than it was the last year and a half.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. Fonz, when are we going to start seeing the PS5 pick up? Because it sounds like they're in a bit of trouble for supply probably for the next 9 months or year. Do you agree with that? Or what do you think is happening?
It takes time to build greatness, Colt. And did you see how big that console is? They're still putting them together right now. Okay, it takes time.
I watched you on your video put the D-band plates on, and you were struggling to lift that thing.
Well, I struggle with a lot of things. But I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to how much they've purchased. I mean, maybe Microsoft just went the extra mile and purchased a lot more chips than PlayStation did. We don't know the facts of anything. Like, could they have bought them off and made a deal with them? Sure. I mean, anything's possible. Money talks, but nobody knows.
That's not what we were pretty sure is happening.
No, I don't think that's happening, but I just say
not to mention the yield.
Nobody really knows.
There's
what's going on.
There's 2 or 3 things that are happening here. Like Soccer and D-Batch are saying, like, if they're having some yields, like when they pull all these wafers up and they test them and a good amount are failing, like that's another console that's not going to go through manufacturing. Yeah. The other part of it that D-Batch was illustrating pretty well is that Xbox and Microsoft are just a better customer. Like, it's so weird to say, right? AMD looks at this like they have to keep these manufacturing facilities super busy making chips because everybody wants a chip. You want to buy a car, you want to buy whatever, everything is on delay. So it's very important. Xbox, all of their surfaces run AMD components. They've got 2 console SKUs that are different. They can get way more chips out of a wafer on a Series S. And the PlayStation, as a customer for AMD in the TSMC, the only thing they have to offer is 2 similar consoles that run the same size of chip. And maybe if they have AMD chips in their Sony TVs, I don't even know. They're not a viable customer when Microsoft steps up the plate. I think AMD says, we got to give priority to Microsoft. They're a bigger and better customer. We're making more money over there. Am I crazy?
Because if money talks again, it all comes down to the dollar for sure.
They make laptops. Microsoft makes a host of devices. They're a much bigger company. And like I said, they're working on the neural network with machine learning and AMD. I don't know if that's going to be a part of FSR 3.0, whatever, but I know that they are working together because I've seen the footage. I've seen the talk. So, Microsoft's just a DX12 Ultimate, which also affects their graphics card. The Windows 10, like they're just a much bigger client. You're so right, Colt.
So in my video, what I said earlier about the manufacturing, if things are going wrong, there were so many reports before PS5 came out. There was the heating issue. There was all this stuff that Bloomberg was reporting.
Melting.
Like, not to mention, remember Austin Evans opened the new PS5, the new version of it that came out last year that was completely different than the one that was at launch. And it was because people were like, oh, it's to make it cheaper for them. And it's like, they're a business. Like, yeah, we get that. But it was also like, if your stuff is built right, why are you changing it so soon? Why are you changing it 5 months into your launch or 8 months into your launch? Like, that to me, these are just like little signs. Like, here you go, like spread them out. I think all of them together are the reason why. And what people aren't understanding is Sony had like a 6-month head start in manufacturing. Xbox waited till late August, early September to start making Series X consoles. That is something that is completely known. So how is Xbox catching up, not only in numbers, closing the gap, outselling them, and they're selling out. You look at Walmart, like Colt said, they sell out. But the Series X comes back like 2 days later with more in stock and then sell out again. So it's not like
you can't find them right now. And it's so funny because I have to wonder, like, can place if you think Microsoft could pay, like Splendiferous says, thank you, Splendiferous says, if they pay for chips, that's good business. So what? Yeah, but I just don't think they're paying for chips. I mean, not in the way that we think of it, because if you think of it that way, PlayStation can say, hey, like, we're the market leader in consoles. Like, we sell almost as many Switches. Like, we're going to flex our muscles. We're going to spend extra money to get more chips. I just don't think, I think if PlayStation goes to AMD and says, we want more chips and we're willing to pay for it, and AMD's like,
there's no favoritism here, dude. I think it just comes down to spending money. I think it just comes down to Microsoft is buying more chips. That's just it.
I'll say this, like in the PC market, like I alluded to earlier, like NVIDIA, well, they're not working with TSMC this time. Actually, they are working with TSMC again. They went to Samsung, didn't work out too well with the 3000 series. So now they're going back to TSMC. They give them a set of money ahead of time to say, listen, we want this money. We want priority number one.
That's their lifeblood.
So we're giving you freaking $1 billion. And then Intel says, or not Intel, AMD comes and says, or the other manufacturers come and they bid on it too at TSMC, and they say, okay, we're gonna give you 1.2 million. Okay, well, you get the priority. At the end of the day, AMD doesn't really care. Or sorry, not AMD. TSMC really doesn't care because they just want to move as many wafers as possible, right? So the more business they do, the better it is for them. And that's just the way it works. Just like Apple gets a priority over everybody. They're going to 3 nanometer. They invested some money with TSMC for these fabs, and they get a priority at 3 nanometer. So it's just the way that it's run, man.
Yeah, but you would at least get a big
Series
market.
S is like the Series S is like the winning stable for them, with where they can get, I think it was 396 chips per wafer, where the PS5 gets about 250. So it's just a massive like profit margin. And when you think about it, I mean, I know we're talking about gaming consoles, but when you think about the globe and the economy and tech that moves, those chips are literally, I spit when I said chips. Those chips. Those chips are such a big deal in the world. Like, that is like cutthroat business, right, Zocker? Like, the chips run the world. They're in your TV. They're in everything. I tried to get a car, and they said it would take 3 to 9 months just to make a car, because the chips are in every component. It is a major thing, and it's just funny because now
on some cars, man.
Yes, it is.
I mean, didn't Samsung just do a $17 billion chip plant in Texas? Like, that's the whole point. Like, they're like, this is everywhere. This is every company trying to do this. Like, Samsung's going to Texas and has a $17 billion factory being made. In other cities, like Nevada and a couple other states, were bidding for this because it is a massive boost to their economy and jobs. Like, that's the whole point of this whole thing. Like, this is big, people. This is global economy defining stuff. And
Phil,
go ahead.
Yeah, Phil and Jim's teams, like the Xbox and PlayStation's teams, like the ones that are dealing with manufacturing, like Zocker's talking about, they are literally chewing their fingernails down to the bone, hoping that everything's going to work out with that supply, because the buck starts with, if you don't get the chips, like the manufacturing is building the cases and that huge gigantic heat seat, like that's all happening. It really comes down to that. And this super chat says it well here. Trell Roberts of the $5 says GameStop has a bundle with the Series X. I got to talk about that because I had Gaming Forte on here, and he explained really well, because people don't understand the bundle thing. I think it's a ripoff. They think it's some underhanded trick, but we learned from Gaming Forte, who works at a GameStop, manages it. He said that Microsoft and Sony have required them to bundle the console in favor for us, the consumers. They have realized that if you bundle the console with an extra controller and a game or two, it keeps people from scalping it. The scalpers are not going to want to spend $800 or $900 and have to offload an extra controller and a couple of games. So they kind of get away from the bundles, and Xbox and PlayStation found out that the bundles go straight to the actual consumer and gaming player. And that's why they do the bundles. Let me grab a couple other supers here. We've got Danny Passion Official says the next Game Pass hit is Elden Ring. Maybe in a year, I would say. But risk it for the biscuit. Thank you for the $8 super. For Australia, he says, if you have a software and hardware company that uses a lot more chips than your competitor, of course you'll have priority because you're worth more. It's business. Says that really well. Said it quicker than I could. Robert Hendricks says, I have an up-spec X screen and a G-Story Series S screens in cart, ready to buy one. Do any of y'all have first-hand knowledge on which one is better? The X screen, which I think is the white one for the Series S, maybe? I don't know what the G-Story is. Do you know about these? People ask you about screens all the time.
Not really. I will say, though, I do see a lot of the white one for the Series S. I do see a lot of people rocking that one. So
they love it.
That's probably the safer bet, because I've seen a lot of people with it.
Yeah, and I haven't heard any complaints, Robert, about the X screen, the white one, so I would go with that. Jedi Knight Peter, thank you so much. He's a good guy to talk to on Xbox. He says, massive risk using Xbox for server blades. In the 360 gen, first to 10 million wins the gen. How much will Microsoft care about xCloud? Well, like Zucker and I are guessing that they spent that first year. It's really apparent that they put more Xboxes in the server racks around 27 countries than they did putting them in retail, because it was hard, almost impossible to get a Series X. Let's see. Danny Passion says, why did that person talk before Microsoft outsells PS5? Well, let me go back to that other one, Danny Passion, where he said that the first one to 10 million wins the console gen. I don't think so. I think it's going to be very close now with how Xbox is able to get consoles. And the Xbox last generation you were told not to get one. Right now, people are saying Xbox is hot, whether people agree with it or not. Zocker, am I right? Is Xbox on fire this generation?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's as plain as day, right? Like at this point, we're looking at PS4 type of numbers, right? And when PS4 came out, it was like, holy cow, like blah blah blah. But now it's like Xbox is doing the same thing. Yeah, the PS5 is selling well. Like gaming's just doing well in general, and Microsoft is up there with everyone else. This isn't a 3-1 or a 2-1 lead that Sony has. This isn't a domination of like embarrassment for Microsoft. This is actually a very competitive generation, and it's going to stick that way the entire way through if people keep doing what they're supposed to do. And honestly, Sony has kind of fumbled here and there with a lot of their messaging, a lot of what they've done. They've backtracked from a lot of stuff. They've charged more stuff for things like gaming $70. Like there's a lot of things that are going against them, and it's going to catch up. But that goodwill of the PS4 and that powerful name of PlayStation is helping them along the way this generation. Xbox has a lot to repair, and they're going to continue to do that. And they just got to provide the games, the services, and of course, use your freaking hardware.
Yeah. It's going to be, I think we're going to see some catch up, D-Batch. I think we're going to see some over these next few months or several months. If PlayStation is still waiting for supply, I think Xbox will kind of do some catch up, and then PlayStation will continue to kind of keep a lead. None of that will even matter, because the funny thing is you're going up against the console right now where Jim Ryan says you're only on console, basically. Yeah. And Xbox is everywhere.
Yeah. The thing is, man, Microsoft is really cutting into that lead, man. Sony really needs to get ahead of this manufacturing issue that they have. They need to get more PlayStations out there. And I've said time and time again, Game Pass is a huge selling factor for the Xbox console. I also think we can't just measure it on the console sales. We have to put into Game Pass is a huge thing, man. Game Pass is on PC. You know, you don't even need to have a console really to subscribe to Game Pass. So I think Game Pass numbers matter too. So I think, yeah, the console sales matter. We got the Xbox Series X, we got the S, we got Game Pass users on PC, on mobile. So I think it's a little bit more than just the console. I think it's the console, user engagement, subscription services.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about because we can talk about the sale. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say about the sales numbers and everything with the console. One thing I hear a lot of people talk about, and they say, well, people are just settling for the console because there's no PS5s to be had, which is ludicrous because nobody goes into, say, buying a brand new Sony QD OLED TV and then they're out of them and just decide, oh, I'm going to pick up this Zenith over here. Nobody does that, okay? When you're spending your hard-earned money as a consumer, and you're not going to go in and just buy a Series X just because, hey, they don't have a PlayStation 5. I'm going to get an X.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. Unless you want it.
The whole thing's just kind of dumb, right? Because they're basically saying that, they wanted a PS5, and so they settled for an Xbox. The end of the story is the Xbox Series S is super, super alluring to the majority of console gaming fans. A $300 price point. It runs everything at 60, basically out the gate. There's always a 60 frames mode on those games. So yeah, it's really alluring, and just the Xbox is a way good. It's a great platform that people are actually wanting, and the sales are telling the tale. But we got to talk about this new IP leak. Aaron Greenberg talked about this new tech demo with the Unreal Engine 5 and what Coalition's doing. He says they're the masters of their thing. Zucker, we got to talk. You loved Gears Tactics. We got to talk about Gears 6. Sorry. And we got to talk about this new IP because you don't just throw that out there. Aaron Greenberg's like, hey, they're working on a new IP. They're working on several projects, but the coalitions are incredible. Zucker, what the heck are they doing with Gears 6? And what's the new IP?
I don't know what the new IP could be. I mean, obviously, like it's going to be. I hope if it's a new IP, that means it's not Perfect Dark. It's not a reoccurring one. It's not something like that, right? It's going to be a completely new take on what they're working on. And I have a feeling that they're going to split the team up to work on Gear 6, and then have another team working something like Gears Tactics. Have another developer help them with it. But Gear 6, I think, is going to be a massive, game. I think it's going to be open world, and UE5 is going to help them build that out. And that's what they've been doing. They said that they're going to be quiet for a little while. If you remember, like, we're not going to hear much about them. They're going to work on this UE5, and they've been working on it for the last year, a little over a year, on the new engine. So I think give them another year to work on the engine, start building out the game, because there's nothing worse than making a game while you're learning an engine or building an engine. So don't do that.
We spent an hour talking about that already.
Don't do that.
Hello, Halo.
Like, hello, Halo. Hello, Battlefield did that with Frostbite. But I'm just saying, for now, let them do what they got to do. I want to see what Gear 6 is. And I do think that Gear 6 can use a little bit of a break. I love Gears of War, but brings Gears of War out later. And,
like, work on this new IP first.
Well, I mean, maybe bring out the new IP first, but also Gears is a massive franchise. You need to bring it out. Well, and I think that they need to change it up. I think they need to change Gears up.
I thought that's what they said they were going to do. I thought they were going to put out the new IP next. They were saying they were putting away Gears for a while.
They did say something like that. I think they did. I'm remembering that. Yeah. I got to ask you, Fonz, what kind of game would the Coalition make? Like, what can we expect from them? We know it's going to be like one of the best looking games.
Honestly, I think it's going to be something that we've all been clamoring for on the Xbox side, a third-person action adventure. I think we're going to get more of what, not Gears, the mechanics, of course, different game, totally different game, but we're going to see a lot of what they're good at, which is building a nice world and freaking characters. Where I think they're going to do something really cool and be a bit more realistic in their characters. I think that's what we're gonna get.
Their shooting's fantastic. D-Batch,
their shooting's fun.
What kind of game do you think Gears will be working on? You think they're going to grab some? Well, if they say new IP, I don't know if they're going to grab any type of franchise and bring it to video gaming and call it a new IP, or is just like some new thing that they've been stretching with what they did with Gears 5 and this tech demo. What do you expect to see?
What happened? I remember before they were working on a game. What happened to that game? Is that game like completely dead? because they were working on a game before.
I think this is the one. I think this is it. When he says this new IP,
So they've gone back.
Yeah.
so maybe they're already
right?
further along than just writing stuff up on a whiteboard. And
Yeah, because
and,
they were
drinking coffee.
pretty heavy into development of that game, and then they were taken away from it. So perhaps, like, you know, if I had unfinished business and I put all this time and work and resources into this game, at some point I'd want to go back to it. So perhaps it's that game. I would agree with Fonz. It'd have to be a third person action adventure game. And if I'm right about this, it's a game they were working on before. It might be coming a lot sooner than we expect. I'm excited just for a new IP to be coming, to be quite honest with you. So
Yeah.
I have a
It's
lot of
really
faith in them.
needed.
I have a lot of
Yeah.
faith in them. They've been doing good work, so I'm excited.
Definitely.
Yeah, Hargi Chani, thank you so much for the $10 super. Hargi, he's amazing.
Hargeet's awesome.
If you don't know Hargi, I would say follow him on. He stays off of social media. He's amazing.
Just
but
see
he
him
says,
here in the chat all the time. He's
Yeah,
always
he's great.
He
everywhere.
owes me 5 guys. I'm watching you, Hargi. I
Yeah,
want my
we
money.
talk to
Five
Hargi
Guys.
every day on Xbox Live, and he's a great guy. He says, we also have no idea how many consoles Xbox has actually sold. They don't release the numbers, and it makes it a challenge to figure out what the delta is. Miles with Colt on Miles Chatter Days, I was there on Saturday, he says, Miles was saying that Xbox should leak the numbers. Whew, that sounds like a messy idea. J-Dub, thank you, or Jub with the $5 says, whatever that new IP is from the Coalition, if anything they're working on looks like that Unreal demo, we are in for a treat. You know, there was people arguing, Zocker, about how that Unreal Engine, what do they call it, Alpha Point demo, doesn't look as amazing as Death Stranding or anything Naughty Dog can do.
My God.
Speak on it, Zocker. Come on.
I mean, it's Faxes. It doesn't look as good as it. I like barren wastelands that have nothing in it, and I get to walk around in it and deliver packages. I need you to back up off of my hate from Kojami because he's amazing. And-
Kojami. Shout out to Brad Sams
Yeah.
when he was on RDX to say Kojami instead of Kojima.
Yeah,
But-
that's just dumb, man. Just enjoy the games. Like the Unreal Engine 5 stuff looks freaking amazing. I mean, that Matrix demo looked insane. The stuff that we're seeing, like whatever we're going to see from Crystal Dynamics and also Coalition #1 is going to blow people's minds with Unreal Engine 5. At least I hope it does. Like that's like if you look at everything.
Don't forget about Hellblade 2.
And you know what? Oh, and Hellblade
Hellblade
2.
2.
And you know what the funny thing is?
Avowed.
Dealer said that there's some trash technical directors
Who?
out there. Dealer, when he said that earlier, he said there's
Who?
some trash. I know the guy that disappeared in the like a fart in the wind.
Joker is a toddler.
So that guy, the person that is the Rayner, the person, the technical director at
Kate Rayner.
Coalition, Kate Rayner, dude, she's awesome. Like that technical director is like badass. Like if you guys played Hive Busters or anything like that, like it looks insane.
It's so good.
Like it looks beautiful, and it doesn't run like I played it on the Xbox and PC. It runs flawlessly on both, man.
It's
like
beautiful.
they kill it with the optimization.
What is it?
Hive Busters DLC. You played it with Dealer and
I played
I.
it with you. Yeah,
Zocker.
we beat it together. I remember that. It was like an hour and a half. It was,
Yeah.
it was
No,
really fun.
it's
And it
about
was
Dude, it's
like
like 3 hours.
It was like
It's like
3
3
to 4.
hours.
Back up. It was fun.
Dude,
I had a good
we
time.
beat it in one shot in 3 hours, Cole.
It is
Don't-
about a 3-hour game, and they really should just. They really
It
should
was
be like
awesome.
figuring out how to do another one of those
but
while
very
they're
short.
working, because do it in Unreal Engine 5. You know, Coalition, get something else for us to chew on, because I think they're going to do some amazing things. It's crazy. This is the I was going to say this is the RDX podcast. This is the RDX podcast collaboration with XNC. I'm the host, Colt Eastwood, and we've been here live on the show with well over 1,000 people and almost 700 likes. We get to 700, then Fonz will take off his shirt. It'll be amazing. Can I make that promise? No, I'll say D will take off his shirt and he'll do it.
Oh, D will take off his shirt for sure.
I mean, D, he's a
I'll get
handsome
butt naked,
dude. I'll
man.
tell you what.
He'll get naked.
Confirmed. D is naked
Oh,
on the show. But
show.
yeah, thank you so much. This show is on Spotify, Google, and Pocket Podcast. Still don't know what Pocket Podcast is, Fonz, but we're there on our shows.
It's actually
But-
Pocket Cast.
Pocket Cast. Okay,
Yes.
I'll forget to say that every
Pocket
time.
Cast.
And yeah, Apple Podcast.
Because that's what
as
I
well.
use, actually. I use Pocket Cast.
Do you use the Pocket Rocker when you listen to that? The old
Yeah.
80s.
I still
like,
have
little-
my down on the corner, down on the street, out on
I
the
got a
street.
pocket
Yeah.
rocket for
Still
you
have it.
right here.
Oh my gosh! Yes, it says Apex Legends on it. But
Oh.
yeah, this has been
Inside
is,
joke.
Inside
Inside joke.
joke.
Zocker loves Apex Legends. It's not an
let's
inside
not
joke.
go
The rest-
there. Let's
You can
not
figure it
do
out.
that.
Zocker should eat baby carrots. Shout out to the chat and everybody for showing your support. Hit that like button on your way out if you had a good time. I got to give a chance. This is a good chance. I would talk about what we're playing, but we've gone way over. I want to give a chance for Fonz to give a big shout out. He runs Games Talk Live, a show on Sundays where he brings people on. What a great show. Let me just brag for you, Fonz. He does a 5-question 80s 90s style quiz in his show. He brings people on, talks about the news. He's got one of the best looking podcast setup, hands down, on the screen. It looks amazing.
I appreciate
Fonz,
that, man.
tell everybody where they can find you and where they can look for what you're doing and what's coming up next, because you have some life changes going on and you're going to kind of
I've got a lot of stuff,
and
plus COVID hit me this weekend, so I wasn't going to Thursday I came down with it really hard. Friday was really bad. Saturday started to feel better, and then I said, I'm going to take Sunday off because I just not 100%. And then, of course, for Colt, I had to show up. Rough voice and all. I said, I'm going to be here for XNC and the RDX crew. I have to show up, man. We're a package deal. Apparently not Dealer and Tim, but we're here.
Frauds.
Yeah, Dealer and Tim are like the two hot dogs that fell out of the hot dog pack, and we're just chilling with the hot dog juice flowing inside the.
So we're hot dog water. We're the hot dog
water, baby.
Oh my gosh!
I drink that all the time.
All right. But anyways, you can catch me over there on my channel, Fonzarelli Gaming. I do Games Talk Live there every Sunday. When I get a chance, I make videos. But again, going through some life struggles right now. Don't have much time, but every Sunday I'm going to try to do my show because I really love doing it. Bringing in people, mostly do one-on-ones. Sometimes I do, 2-on-1s. Pause. I don't want to sound gross there. But anyways, going back to the hot dog water, I don't have any of that on my show, but we have a good time over there. And Colt's right. Colt's been on there, 3 times already, Colt? We've had a great time.
I always have a good time, man. You make people feel welcome and have a good time.
Of course, just like you do. So we have a great time doing these things.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Well, I got to go to D-Batch. Yeah, thank you. And Yodani put the links to your guys' channels on there.
I appreciate
so go ahead,
that,
sub.
Yodani.
You're already subbed to these guys, but if you're new and you're checking out the show, go sub to these guys. Fonz does his podcast. I got to give a shout out to D-Batch, who's like the OG. We've been working together and we've been doing our YouTube thing since 2017. It's been dang near 5 years. I think we're coming up. It's been 5 years now, right?
For 5 years.
Yeah. It's amazing. D-Batch, you've been putting out some tech stuff. You've been showing some benchmark stuff of hot new games as soon as they come out. Talk to people about your channel. Tell them give them a recommendation for the next video to go check out that you've put out. Say, go watch this video. Say it. What do you got?
Yeah. So basically, I run a tech channel, tech news and gaming and TV stuff. Not a lot of TV stuff right now, more gaming stuff. And I made a switch today to cover some more PC stuff, and that video died a slow death. So
YouTube's been rough, bro. Not just you.
Go look at that video. I built a small form factor PC, which is actually a little bit bigger than a console. And I put a white Strix in one, and I put a AMD Black 6800 XT in another. And really take a look at that video. Those builds are like wicked. When you see those builds, you'll be amazed at how small they are and how much power they offer. And the video before that, I talked about not super resolution. Sorry, AMD's DLSS,
DRS.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
No.
We have so many acronyms that you and I've covered on our channel.
FSR. There we go.
FSR.
FSR 2.0. So I did my previous video was touching on
STD. That was it.
On FSR and the benefits for the console and the PC.
DKNY.
Forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically the tech stuff. So you want to see cool tech stuff, look at my channel. I got lots of stuff on there. It's D_.
Donnie put it in the chat, man. D. He put your video on there. Awesome.
Thanks for having me on, Fonz, man. I'm glad to see you shining over here on your podcast,
Colt.
Man. Oh my God,
Phil.
Colt. See, this is how you know I'm getting tired here, man.
All you Xbox guys are all the same. Fonz, Colt, Dealer, Tim Dog, D-Batch. Yeah,
what's happening here?
Oh, thank you so much. And then Zocker, who I've been with not long enough. It's been 4 years. yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. Zucker runs a channel where this guy, rain or shine, he puts out a video 3 times a week, and
How he does it.
I don't know how he does it. He's a machine, and he's dedicated, so you will not miss something if Zocker87 is in your sub box and if you have notifications on. Zocker, what video do you want these guys to go check out the most that you've just put out? Where can they find you? And how big are your biceps?
My biceps are not that big, but I'm getting there. Like, I just edit so many videos that they're starting to get defined, so it's okay. No, I just like I'm just like it's burning.
Finger push-ups.
Mouse button
And
is
then
heavy.
of course I always try to edit Phil Spencer perfectly for my
Thumbnails. Yep.
yeah. No, I just
Shout out to Obi.
shout out to Obi, you son of a bitch. Fonz.
Oh my gosh, you guys
Obi.
are filthy.
I know. So yeah, thanks guys for checking out the channel. You can check out any video you want. Colt, I love that you brought me on here, man. It was really a lot of fun, and I always love talking to you and everybody in RDX. Obviously, like that's why people like listening to us, because we're friends in real life and we talk like this in parties, and a little bit more filthy. We're a little, we're hardcore in there.
I
But
mean,
we
we
had a
make
good
fun of
time.
Rand way more than we did here
We make
tonight.
Yeah,
fun
we
of
say
Rand way-
fudge all the time.
Yeah, Rain has
all
a
the
tiny
time.
mouth for something tiny, and it's just great.
Yeah.
So like I don't know.
Shout
we
out
just
to
have a
Rand.
good time. Shout out to Randall. But as,
The
as
man
for
with
videos,
the million.
as for the channel, just go check out anything you guys want. I just enjoy making content and talking about everything because it's my passion. That's what I just like doing. So yeah, and I'll be playing a bunch of games. I mean, there's stuff coming out, and I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I'm jumping into that, and then like I have 20 hours into MLB The Show. Because I don't know what it is, man. I don't like baseball. I don't like watching it. I don't even care for the sport. But as I'm sitting there going like, all right, can I do a changeup or a fastball or what's going on? And then what hooked me into
It's
the game
just so
was,
good, man.
Dude,
It just
I'm
feels
telling
good
you.
for some
You
reason.
know
I
what?
wrote like a whole
It's-
dissertation to these guys about me facing the Dodgers, and it was bottom of the 9th, and I was down 1-4 with 2 outs, and then I won 5-4 and literally screamed like "F yeah!" like when I beat them and hit like a.
Oh my!
It wasn't.
I'm
It was
playing
a
the
walk-off homer.
I'm playing the game and I'm like, strike him out. Like I just like I get so
Yes,
so
it's
great.
literally a great pastime, right? Like
It is.
it's a great way to pass the time.
And sit in a party and talk to your buddies. Like it's a party game. I hate Fonz.
Yeah, it is. I gotta
Zonka
say
is a toddler.
that was perfectly timed. I gotta say, I won't talk about it, but I played Weird West today. I really, really like it. I did not think I would
We
give a
have that
crap.
3-day buffer, Colt. We have that
Dude,
3-day buffer.
We have the 3-day
I tried
buffer,
it.
but it just I don't know what it is. It feels like an old
downloaded
Fallout game, and
I downloaded
I
it
don't
because
know.
of you. I downloaded it.
I don't know.
I know,
just
I
really
know
like
that
it.
a game where it's kind of like a twin stick.
It's an RPG.
shooter, but I know those are made for sticks. But for me, it's like that would feel best with a mouse.
Well, it's not
Like,
a twin stick. You aim with left trigger, but you have to move
but
your right
you
trigger
moved
to
it-
swing
yeah.
around, which is
I don't
weird.
like that. I don't like that.
But
That's
I
what
don't
I
know.
don't like about it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it looks like a
You
fun
think
game.
It's made for like a mouse and keyboard kind of thing.
It's
Well,
easier for me to control the
I probably
weapon.
would be. It probably would be.
I'm
It,
gonna check
but
it.
I don't
I'll
know.
download it- I'll
I'm
download
really
it on
like it.
PC then, because I download it on Xbox, but I'll check on both and see which one I like.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me know, chat, next week if you try Weird West. Just dropped into Game Pass. This is the XNC podcast. This is episode 47 coming to close. And I think on May 10th is the 1-year anniversary of this show. And shout out to the guys from Game On Daily and people like, Fawn's running a brand new show the same time as me for like giving me the motivation to do this. But it's been great having the RDX guys on here. Sorry that Dealer and Tim dropped out so they could go have lunch. They're going to get sub sandwiches
Together.
or something. And they just left. Yeah, there's holding hands. And
No,
eating
I
lunch
heard
together
they're at a
and
Best
without us.
Buy watching people about to go into the store or something. That's what I heard. I don't know.
That's what it is. That is what it is. Shout out to the chat. We're going to get out of here. I've let these guys go on way too long. They're amazing. Follow them. I will get their handles on Twitter in the description so you can follow
Right,
them.
I just
as well.
got this from. Oh, got a message from Dealer. He says that NPDs are on lock.
Oh, there you
All
go.
You're such an idiot.
There was a bunch of topics we didn't cover. I'm so sorry, but you guys have been great. We're going to get out of here, have some dinner. You've been amazing. Have a good night,
Later,
guys. Thank you
guys.
so much for being on here, and we'll see you soon.
Later, everybody.
Later.
Potato skins.